I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. I want to say double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And as always, I want to give a sincere shalom to the house of David, the elect. All right, I'm the brother Zion, and through the Spirit, you know, I'm driving to work right now, and I wanted to go into one of the scriptures where it reads, "Thine eyes shall see thy teachers," you know, and during these last days, you know, I'll speak on the behalf of the men of Great Millstone. During these last days, starting with when the apostles and elders came on YouTube in 2007, that's when we began to see our teachers. You know, they were out on the streets prior to that, but they weren't online. You know, this truth really got big once the brothers started posting on YouTube, man. That's when the truth reached the four corners of the land. You know, starting with the YouTube, you know, that unicorn, that internet feed horn, man. You know, but anyway, and it doesn't just go for the apostles and elders, man. It goes for us younger brothers too, man. All right, you up and coming elders, different camp leaders, you know, you captains, brothers coming up in the ranks. You know, we are teachers as well, man. You know, we just respect our apostles and elders, so we reference them. You know, we reference them a lot, which is good because they're setting the example. But anyway, you know, like the scriptures say, thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and you're gonna know who's the real men of the Lord and who's not. All right, the scriptures say, ye shall know them by their fruits. Okay, and also by the doctrine that they come in. You know, if you got a guy saying that the name of the Lord doesn't matter, you should get away from that guy, man. You know, if you got other men teaching that you know, the mark of the beast is this and that, and it's not the RFID chip, you got to get away from that guy. So you're gonna know also by you're gonna know if a guy's a real teacher by the doctrine that he comes in. You know, by the doctrine that he comes in. And not everyone that says Yahweh Shai is righteous, because you got guys out there, and that's in Matthew the 7th chapter. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom. Because you got a lot of guys that come in the name of the Lord, and they really off. You know, wolves in sheep's clothing, man, which Yahweh Shai warned us about. Okay, but we believe through faith and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down have the truth. And it's becoming more and more evident as these last days come. You know, it's becoming more and more evident who has the truth, you know. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Ultimately, we just have to endure and continue to because there's going to be more brothers that comes into the fold, man. That's another thing we got to understand. And their eyes are going to see their teachers. And it could be you. All right? Because we have the correct doctrine. So it could be you. You know? Because certain brothers' spirits connect with other brothers' spirits, man. Which is a beautiful thing. You know? You got certain brothers might like to watch certain camps because their spirit connects with those brothers. So that's a beautiful thing. You know, but also in that scripture where it says thine eyes shall see thy teachers, before that I believe it says they shall not be removed into a corner anymore. And it also says in the Apocrypha that the truth which was so far roughly paraphrasing, the truth which was so far hid shall basically come to fruition, man, shall come to light. You know, it shall the truth basically is gonna spring up out of the earth, man. And that's why you got so many brothers waking up. You know, it's been a lot of brothers within the Latino tribes, you know, waking up, man, you know, overseas and different islands and etc. And it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, you know. It's a very, very beautiful thing to see this truth be spread worldwide, which that's also a prophecy, man. You know, that's also prophecy. So if we continue to do our job, then other brothers are gonna wake up. You know, other brothers are gonna wake up, man, and that's ultimately sealing the elect. Because we want the elect to be sealed. That's the reason why we go out there on the highways and the byways and teach this truth. Is because we want the elect to be sealed, and we're looking for salvation, man. Salvation is the ultimate goal. We want to be saved from our enemies, man. You know. So this thing is around the corner, man. Salakia, brothers, I gotta just park real quick. Yeah, this thing is around the corner. Salvation. Bear with me for 1 minute. So all we have to do is continue to endure in this thing, man. You know, we almost out of here. Prayer. And this is basically just a little faith booster video. I didn't get any precepts. I'm on my way to the plantation. I'm actually here just to throw something out there, man. It's all about feeding the elect and just giving brothers courage. And you know, a brother may needed to hear this today, man. So, you know, thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Continue to push, because we almost out of here. We're seeing the prophecies come to pass, and all we have to do is do our part. You know, control what we can control. Which ultimately, right now, we're controlling the narrative, because Esau can't do it anymore. You know? So with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the house of David, the elect. And to the next lesson, I say shalom.
Alright, shalom, shalom. It's your brother Ibadia from Jim Mississippi, Florida. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rechakadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of the Great Millstone who rule well. Seek honor, salutation to all you sincere brothers who's constantly pushing the word, true sincerity, the four corners of the earth. And I also want to say peace and blessing be to all the sincere men, women, and children that consist of the 1/3 who are also members of the body of Yahushai. And peace and blessings also be to all you confusion that faces the four corners of the earth. Shalom, peace and blessings be unto you all. As you can know, the new trend or flavor of the week is, this is why we call you the devil, all right? And when we say that, we're talking about people who refer to themselves as Caucasians today, all right? Well, we say the so-called white man, who their biblical names are Esau, Edom in the Bible, okay? The so-called white man, woman, and child known as Esau, Edom in the Bible, all right? And basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out some information off the scriptures and also off the internet just to go to show, man, that they are the devil. And when you go into the word devil, it just means deceiver. But before I go any further, the reason why I named this one, this video, the reason why I call it the devil iconoclasm, because I want to go into the word iconoclasm. All right, it says the action of attacking or assertively rejecting cherished beliefs and institutions or established values and practices. In other words, it says the rejection or destruction, just the point I want to look at, or destruction of religious images as heretical, the doctrine of iconoclast. But the point of that I want to get at is right here it says destruction of religious images. All right. Now, first and foremost, we already know that the Lord said that we're not supposed to be making any graven images, and I'm going to go into that as well. But the point of the matter is, as you can see right here on the right hand side of the screen, this is what iconoclasm is. Right here it shows you, this right here shows you the original painting of how the Messiah was depicted before the Renaissance era. Okay, the Renaissance means rebirth, when Esau Edom came back into power. Okay, the old serpent that came to deceive the whole world, and the Lord took that veil off of the world, well, off of the elect first and foremost, and forgive me, Isaiah the 25th chapter, I believe the 8th verse. Okay, the covering cast. So now this is what happened during Renaissance. Okay, the changing of the painting of Mashiach. And who is this supposed to be? Lo and behold, a so-called Jew, a Jewish man. And this right here is the new depiction of what they would consider to be Christ. And this is a false image. And I'm going to go into the Bible to prove that. Okay, but let's go into the word devil first before we go any further. And this is from the scriptures, St. John chapter 8, verse 44. All right. So I'm just going to go straight. I'm going straight to the word devil. You can read it for yourself what that scripture says. But I'll read it for you. It says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abide not in the truth, because there was no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." All right. So now let's go into that word devil, so we can get a better understanding of why when we say the devil, we're not talking about some weird, strange entity that's walking around underneath the ground in a pit of fire with a pitchfork and he's all red. Though the so-called white man is known as Edom, which means red, i.e. they call themselves rednecks in the South. Understand this though. This is what the word devil really means. It says prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely. Okay, like they accuse us of being liars. Okay, so you're not the Hebrew Israelites, you're not the people of the Bible. Well, we fit all the curses, all right? And you sure don't fit the blessings, claiming that you back in the land of Israel. All nations supposed to be flocking to Israel to learn the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, according to Isaiah this second chapter. Just earlier, last week, was it last week? No, I think it was a couple of days ago. Iran said they were going to bomb Israel if they shoot another missile over to Syria. All right, but anyways, this is the part I want to get to. Metaphor applied to a man by opposing the cause of God may be said to act of the devil or to side with him. All right, so now I'm going to go into the Bible. This is Exodus chapter 2, verse 4. It's like Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. It says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." So first and foremost, there's not supposed to be any depiction, not supposed to be no illustrations or no drawings or statues or paintings of anybody out of the Bible. All right? That's one of the quote-unquote 10 commandments, though, but Moses was up there for 40 days before now, so it might sound now. You mean he only got 10 commandments? No, he got over 613 commandments, all right? So we're not supposed to be making any graven image. Lo and behold, over here, despite the fact, our people who were ruling Europe for 1,000 years, the so-called Moors would be the southern kingdom, so-called Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, so-called Negroes, Jamaicans, and Haitians. They weren't supposed to depict any pictures, but they knew that the Messiah looked like this right here, where it says original painting of Mashiach. So now we're going to the next verse. Where am I? This is Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48, and it says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen have sought to paint likeness of their images. So they opened up the Bible and they said, well, we're going to depict David to look like this. We're going to depict Peter to look this way. We're going to depict, lo and behold, the Messiah to look like this individual right here. All right. And this basically goes back to a man named Caesar Borgia, all right, he was the son of the sixth Pope of Rome, and that was the biggest crime family during that time of the Renaissance coming about. And really, Caesarea Borgia go back to one of Ptolemy's sons, Serapis Christus, okay, the flower pot god. So understand that too. That also goes back to history. So this is an actual man that did live before, but they depict him to be the Messiah, which is false. Because Rodrigo Borgia said, if I'm going to be God and sit in God's seat, my son will sit in the seat of the Son of God. Okay, lo and behold, that's why they went into the Bible and they sought to paint their own images, iconoclast. So now let's go on to the next verse. Because what I'm going to go into is to go to prove that the Lord was not a so-called white man, a leper, so to say. He was a man that committed no sin, and he was the unblemished lamb that was given for a sacrifice to the nation of Israel. So let's go on to Numbers chapter 12, verse 10. And the cloud departed from the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. All right. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Wait a minute. So if the Lord was supposed to look like a so-called white man, Caucasian, or a leper, how can they say that he walked the earth and he did not sin? Even Moses' brother Aaron said this is a sin. It's a sin to even look this way. So now let's go into the scriptures. It says, this is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse. Actually, let me go to First Peter chapter 2, verse 20. It says, For what glory is it if when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God, Yahweh. This is the point I want to get at, okay? For even we're hereunto where ye call, because Mashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. It's the point. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. So how can the Lord, the Messiah, the Holy One, how can he be depicted as a leper or Edomite? Okay, he had no sin, and it tells you right here in the book of Numbers. It says what? It said, he said, Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, let not the sin lay not the sin upon us wherein we have done foolishly and wherein we have sinned. So it was even a sin to even look like a leper, okay? Because even in the book of Leviticus, the 13th chapter, it speaks about you having clean lepers. It was a plague. A plague is like a wound, like a disease, okay? An infection, so to say. The Lord was a man without sin, okay? There was no blemish on him. So now let's go on to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 18. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from your vain conversation received by tradition from fathers. Listen to this. But with the precious blood of Mashiach as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. So how could he possibly be looking like a so-called white man or Edomite or a leper when he was a man without sin and he was unclean? And so like he was clean. He was not unclean, all right? So let's just go to show you, man, that this image over on the right-hand side, this is false, okay? Because this is how they depicted the Lord to look before the Renaissance. Like I say, with this picture you see in the middle, it's something called iconoclasm. And I'm going to go back. I think, if it allows me to go back. No, it went down. But when you go into that word iconoclasm, right here, boom. Destruction of religious images. Now I already went into the law where it says we're not supposed to make any engraven images. But even though our people used to depict these images right here, they knew that the Messiah was a dark-skinned man. He was not looking like a so-called white man or Edomite man or a leper, so to say. All right. Even the Lord healed lepers. Okay, come on. So now with that being said, let's go to the next verse. Next scripture out of the Bible. This is Revelation chapter 1, verse 13, which I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with, but I'm bringing it out for edification's sake. Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. Okay, this is the depiction of how the Lord looked. All right, so let's see which one of these depictions will resemble how the Lord looked. Would it be this depiction or would it be this depiction? All right, I'll let you be the judge after this. For Revelations 1 and 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. So he had on like a garment all the way down to his foot. All right, he had a golden belt around his waist, so to say. All right. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And we think about woolly hair, you think about an afro, all right? You think about a big fro, a big puffy fro, all right? Hair like wool. It's think about cotton balls, all right? That's how the Lord's texture of his hair would be, just like wool, all right? Like cotton wool, okay? And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, okay? So we said that the Lord's feet will be like unto fine brass, as if it burned in the furnace. So now, what I did, I went online just to type in, this is fine brass. This is how fine brass will look, all right? Fine brass. And why do you think they gave it a depiction of his feet? Because if you read the beginning of that chapter, when John the Revelator saw Yahushua, the Messiah, he bowed down. He got on his knees and bowed down. So he gave you a depiction of what he saw when he wrote it down. Okay, that's why they call it revelation. He revealed unto you how the Lord looked. Okay, he said he had feet as if unto fine brass, and whatever the top of your feet, whatever the color of the top of your foot is, that's what the rest of your body would be, unless you have what they call vitiligo or leprosy. All right. So nonetheless, this is how fine brass looks right here. Now let's go into the word burnt. I think this is it right here. Boom. This is how burnt brass would look. Okay, a darker depiction. Okay, this is how burnt brass will look. A dark complexion. Matter of fact, I think it was where is it? I could have sworn it was a scripture, a picture I saw down here that they had a burnt brass. Just through the spirit. Let me go back up real quick. Burnt brass. I think this is right here. Let's say feet. It's the spirit. Look at that. This would be someone of burnt brass. All right. And what it say? It says the feet don't match the face. This is identity theft. Wow. This is the greatest identity theft in the world. You talking about credit cards. Greatest identity theft ever depicted on the face of the earth. All right. They stole the identity of the Messiah. Get out of here, man. Where else? I think it was another depiction, if I'm not mistaken. All right. But that was one of the depictions right there, so to say. All right. So you know what it looks like to have burnt brass. All right. And that was the depiction right here. This is another one. Okay. Just to pull out really quick. Shalakia. Burnt brass. All right. Revelations 1 and 15. So now, lo and behold, since we already depicted that, let's go on to St. John chapter 14, verse 7. All right. Because you have a depiction on how the Messiah looked. Like I said, that's why we call you the devil. The word devil is mean slanderer or a liar, man. Okay, and that's what this so-called white man has done. They have lied and put this depiction all around the world, and they forced our people to believe in this depiction of hardcore bondage. Okay, we was in shackles, we was in chains, being hung. So that's why our people to this day, that's why they love the so-called white man so much, Esau Edom, because they actually think that the Messiah looked like him. If they knew the Messiah looked like them, you so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, and guess what? We even have confusion of faces out here too. Brothers who may look like a so-called Chinese man or so-called white man, but they really are Israelites. Lo and behold, Blake Griffin, his son, all right, has blonde hair and blue eyes. But if you look at Blake Griffin's father, his father is a dark-skinned Haitian. His mother is depicted as an Edomite woman. So it's not about the appearance, it's really about the spirit. But we have to use this. I'm using the color as a reference to understand that the Messiah and his people were predominantly dark-skinned people. Though you do have confusion of faces out there, which is why I always say peace and blessings to the confusion of faces. So let me go on to St. John chapter 14, verse 9. Verse 7. Verse 7. He said, this is the Messiah speaking. He said, if ye had known me, Salaki, I went out too far. He said, if ye had known me, you should have known my Father also, and from henceforth ye know him and have seen him. Philip saith unto him, Lord, Philip saith unto him, Lord, shew us the Father, and it suffices us. In other words, he like, listen, we want to see how the Father look. Can you please show us? Now listen to what the Lord say. All right. Yahweh saith unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me? Hast thou not known me, Philip? Salakia. He that hath seen me, have seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, shew us the Father? So in other words, if you see me, I am a spitting image of my Father. That's what Yahweh is telling him. So if you see me, you see the Father. All right. Not saying he is the Father, but listen to what he say after that. This is verse 10. He said, believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The word that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Okay, that's why he's called the only begotten Son, because he was Yahweh's first creation. Really his only creation, because Yahweh created everything, but the Heavenly Father gave him the wisdom, gave him the blueprints to create the heavens and earth, man. All right. That's why I say he's an image of the invisible God. Matter of fact, before I go any further, let me pull that out just to prove my point. Let me pull that out so people won't think, because people will take that and mix it with the Trinity. See, that's the Trinity. That means that the Heavenly Father, that means that the Son was actually the Heavenly Father. Think about this: when Yahweh Shai was on the cross and he passed away and the earth rent, if the Heavenly Father was Yahweh Shai and that happened, don't you think everything in existence would pass away? If his Son was him, like literally him, he basically saying that he is a spitting image of his Father. This is Colossians 1 and 15. I'm gonna start out 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Israel, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. Duh. All right. Understand that? And they go to say right here, for by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things was created by him and for him. All right. So that goes to show you, man, that when he say, have you been so long time with me, and you say you have not seen the Father? If you see me, you have seen the Father. I'm gonna say it again. right here, St. John chapter 14, verse 9. Yahweh saith unto him, have I been no time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? And he that hath seen me have seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, shew us the Father? So like going back to Revelations, the first chapter. Oh no, it's probably right here. All right, it gives you a clear. Is this the one? No, that's not it. So like, forgive me. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right here. Blue letter. I give you a depiction of how the Lord look. He said, if you see me, you see the Father. Now let's go into the book of Daniel, so I can actually give you a depiction on how the Heavenly Father actually look according to a vision that Daniel saw, right? And it says, I consider the thrones, and behold, there Salakia. Man, that happens a lot. Forgive me. It said, I consider the thrones, and behold, there came up among them another little horn before them whose were, oh, I'm sorry, that's not the one. It's right here, really. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. The Ancient of Days will be who? The Heavenly Father. And he did sit. Whose garment was white as snow, because, you know, white means pure, which is why they try and use, oh, I'm a white man, meaning I'm a pure, I'm a holy man. And then when they say, well, you're a black man, they mean that you're, you know, that's evil, it's negative, all right? So, okay, you know, there's always a polar opposites to everything, all right? Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. Going back to how his song was depicted. Like I say, if you think about back in the 70s, man. Oh, it's this latest night, and when you think about that, you think about Jake walking around with big afros, man. And listen, I've even seen so-called Puerto Ricans, Ephraimites, with crazy afros, bro. So it don't even matter, man. You know, Jake is Jake. So-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans and confusing the faces. That's us, man. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels is burning fire. The point of the matter is that it said the hair of his head like the pure wool. Remember, he is the invisible God, but this is the image that Daniel had in the vision. All right. So like Yahweh said, if you see me, you see the Father. Now, this is another depiction on how Yahweh shall look according to Daniel. Okay, so they give you two depictions in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. So this is Daniel chapter 10 verse 5. It said, "And I lift up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins was girded with fine gold of Uphaz." It says the same thing right here, man. Okay. Revelations 1 and 13. In the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girded about the paps with a golden girdle. All right. So let's go back into that Daniel 10. It says, his body also was like the beryl. Now, what does it mean his body was like the beryl? That was the color of his garment. All right. His garment was green. And his face as the appearance of lightning. It tells you that in Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, in the first verse, it says, wisdom maketh the man's face to shine. That's why when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, he had to cover his face with a veil because he got so much wisdom for them 40 days and 40 nights. And his eyes as lamps of fire. When you go into Genesis, I believe the 49th chapter, the 12th verse, it says that he will have, his teeth will be white like milk, and his it's red from wine because he drank a lot of wine. Remember, it tell you that he was a wine bibber. They claim he was a wine bibber and a glutton in the book of Matthew, the 11th chapter. And listen to this part though. And his arms and his feet like in color. They used the word color there, like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. It says the same exact. Well, I'm not the same exact thing, but they phrase it the same way. And his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. But they actually used the word color in the Bible. His feet like in color. Okay, you can't refute that. You can't get over that. And as a matter of fact, what's the image at? Like unto color. His feet like unto color. So who is this imposter right here? Who is this guy? Who is this imposter? And who is this imposter? Who is this liar right here? Okay, that's not how the Messiah looked, man. Okay, and now this right here is a false image as well. Cause they say he had hair like wool, and they said his son. He said if this supposed to be Adam, so to say, but this is the part I want to get at. They trying to pick this to be Adam and to pick God. They said that the Lord made the man of the dirt of the ground, the dust of the ground. The best soil on earth is that deep, dark, cool, moist soil. Okay, So the man was dark skinned, a dark skinned man, that deep dark brown soil. All right. So this right here go to show you, man, prime example. And this is not the image of the beast. All right. All right. This is not the image of the beast. But this is basically how the Lord will look right here. Okay. This is basically how the Lord will look. Prime example. All right. So like, bear with me real quick. Now, lo and behold, so when you think about that Last Supper picture that everybody be having in their house, mainly our people, you see inside these churches, if anything, you see a picture like this: a whole bunch of men sitting around with afros, man, with big puffy fros, man. Not a whole bunch of so-called white people, Caucasians sitting around. Okay, it's madness, complete madness, man. All right. But anyways, I'm going to close out with these last two scriptures, man. So nonetheless, though, when people talking about how the image of the Lord look, or how the Lord look, or how the people of the Bible look, it's a brother in our camp named Dawada. If you go to GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, he did a beautiful video on how the people of the Bible live, or how the people of the Bible look, part 1. Beautiful edification, beautiful video on there, all right? And if you have a problem with his language, it's probably not for you. But hey, the scripture does say, "Do I be rude in speech, but not in knowledge?" That's 2 Corinthians 11:6. So just deal with it, all right? A lot of people watch movies today, and they do a lot of so-called cursing on there. But anyways, the point of the matter is, I went to the Bible and I proved the fact that the so-called white man, this is why we call you the devil, all right? Because of this image right here. Let me go back to it. This image right here. Like I said, devil just means slanderer or liar, and you put a lie out there claiming that this is how the Messiah looked over here, and that's not how he looked. All right, this is actually how the Messiah will look right here. All right, dark skinned man. All right, like I said, the original painting before the Renaissance, before the so-called white man came into power. All right, new painting of, like what they say, new painting of Mashiach. So this is the original, how he originally looked, the authentic look. So this is 1 John chapter 5 verse 9. It said, "If we receive the witness of men, the witness of God is greater. For this is the witness of God which he hath testified of his Son." So this is supposed to be the witness of a man right here. This painting. This is how I think he looks. But according to the scripture, he looks nothing like that. He actually looks like this. All right. So which witness is greater? The witness of the Lord. And what is the witness? The laws, statutes, commandments. The New Testament, the Old Testament, and the Apocrypha. This is the point too. He that believeth on the Son of God, Yahweh, have the witness in himself. He that believeth not Yahweh have made him a liar, because he believeth not the record that he gave of his Son. So how do you know the Lord existed? How do you know how the Lord looked? Lo and behold, what is the record? The Bible. That is the record, man. This is the record right here. All right. So with that being said, you make God to be out a liar. You make God to be out a liar if you don't believe that this is how he will look right here. All right. How the Lord will look right here. Okay. So let me go into the last scripture, and I'm gonna close out. This is Isaiah chapter 8 verse 20, and it says, "To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them." Okay, so to the law and to the testimony, it gives you a clear description on how the Lord looks, how the Messiah looks. To the law and to the testimony. If you don't believe that the Lord was a dark-skinned man with woolly hair, you don't have any light. And the Lord said he came into the world to bring light, but they love darkness, all right? And they rather would dwell in it. And that light is the knowledge. And the scriptures say, you know, if our gospel be hid, if our gospel is hid, it is hid to them that are lost, because the God of this world has blinded them. Say, hey, what more can I say, man, except that the Heavenly Father has blinded you and he didn't give you the light, okay? So nonetheless, remember, iconoclasm is the destruction of religious images, and this is why we call you the devil, man, all right? Which means that this is why we call you a liar all over the face of the earth, okay? Now, with that being said, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kadash, the orders to the elder apostles, great millstone who rule well, singing honor and salutation to all you sincere brothers, is constantly preaching word, truth, sincerity in the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to the sincere men and women, the church, like a sister, the 1/3, and peace and blessings also be to all the confusion and face that in the four corners of the earth. Kwame Asha Alam, Waf Level Ball, Shalom.
You know what I noticed when we really sticking it to Esau through the scriptures? The scoffers, they don't say much. They don't say anything.
And this is the way you're supposed to teach. You make a statement, then you back it up with a scripture.
Because I'm looking at the comment board. Now, before we're talking about other things, the scoffers were talking shit. But when we go into Esau and we're insulting them, and then we're bringing the scriptures, using it to insult them. They don't say shit. They don't say nothing.
All right, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we want to give peace and salutation to the elect, the house of David, as well as the rest of the men, women, and children whom the Lord will have mercy on at the time of his second coming, which we know is very, very close according to what is written, according to the Spirit, right? And prophecies are being fulfilled daily. And one of the main prophecies in the latter days is that the man of sin, all right, Esau, Edom, will be made bare. He would be exposed. And that's the season we're in. All right, so as the Apostle Gabar just said in that opening video, all right, you have a lot of Israelites who try to shy away from getting on Esau, Edom. Now, when it comes to getting on other Israelites, when it comes to getting on us in particular, you know, these guys are on fire. They're fervent, okay? But when you look at the mass majority of their videos, you'll notice that 1 or 3 out of 100, all right, will be about Esau or none. And these men are silent on the works of their true enemy. All right. And they think that because they're trimming their way to seek love and just getting on Israelites, that somehow Esau, Edom is going to take it easy on them. All right. And you're going to be of a sore punishment. OK, because you guys are on fire to come up against us. All right. But when you look at your page, you really don't go into anything about Esau. And then you'll use the excuse, well, our people already know Esau's evil. All right. Well, the scriptures say that we go into all things, man. We are a sweet savor unto Hamashiach. OK, in every place, man. So we go into everything and exposing the works of Esau, Edom, and getting on Esau, Edom, because he's putting us in his news and trying to tell the whole world we're not Israelites. He's putting us in the news and trying to label us these black terrorists. All right. And say that anything that we're saying is of no importance, man. OK, but what he's done is he's swapped at a hornet nest. And now people are going to look at the videos and they're going to see the truth, man. All right. And we're going to expose you devils for what you really are and who you really are, because you're the enemy. You're the devil that the Bible speaks of. Devil means deceiver. And there's no bigger deceiver on the planet Earth than you Edomites. OK, and your history is treacherous. It's wicked. It's full of bloodshed, deceit, robbery. OK, theft, you know, coveting, you know, rape, robbery, and murder, pedophilia. All right, homosexuality, buck breaking, owning of slaves in an unjust manner. Your history is just full of wickedness, man. And this is how you have this system you have in place today, based upon those ill doings. And as the scriptures say, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit and fraud, the kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another. And that is the time we're living in. And you got you Israelites, all right, getting scared. You got a bunch of Israelites doing videos trying to say, well, we're not associated with those guys on the news, and thinking that somehow the so-called white man is going to take it easy on them. All right, either if you on the right side or if you're on the left side. If you're an Israelite and you have, if you're an Israelite, period, even if you don't know, hell is coming to you, man. Okay, and these people hate you, and the reason they hate you is written in the Holy Scriptures, man. And this is what we do. We bring out the truth upon you Edomites. Now, this is a article that I brought this out a while back, so I'm not going to get 100% into it. You know, I'll leave the link for you to, and I made a copy of this too. All right. If you want to get a copy of this, you know, just, you know, print it out wherever you're at, because this is good information showing you how within this man's medical system, all right, psych meds, all right, and the history of, you know, basically medicine, which the Apostle Gabar did a beautiful video going into it. These people have completely used that as a base to practice witchcraft and destroy you Israelites, man, for fun. Okay, this whole system is based upon destroying you Israelites, man. Okay, all of these practices, Planned Parenthood. Okay, the Center for Cancer Research. When you find out the genesis, the beginning of these things, you're going to find out that they're all rooted in racism and in a plan to destroy you Israelites, man. As the scriptures say, all of the nations, all right, have come together to make sure that the name of Israel be no more heard in the earth. And that's what they've all come together to do, all right, under Esau Edom, man. Okay, so when you look into your neighborhoods and you look at the people who own entertainment and the people who, you know, are pretty much over everything dealing with you Jakes, all right, it's all controlled, all right, and it's set up to push destruction, man. Okay, and you look in your neighborhoods, who own the stores, all right, the heathen. Okay, this is a systematic, all right, plan by all of the heathen to wherever you are, go, all right, and make sure that sin and destruction of who you really are is pushed. And they do that via chemicals. There's a chemical war against you. You wondering why your children are running around acting like Freddy Krueger. Okay, well, the foods that they're eating, the chemicals, all right, that are in the waters and all of these things, they're systematically put inside. And Jake, all right, along with rap music and all of these different things, have been programmed to be complete animals. You see, and you devils have benefited from putting that image out there and presenting to the world that we're complete beasts. And somehow, through all of this death, rape, robbery, and murder that you've done, the focus is on us and no one's looking at you, which 2/3 of our people are wicked, man. But ultimately, they're wicked because the scriptures say the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked doth seduce them. So your wicked ways, you created niggas. That's a creation of you so-called white people, niggas and baby mamas and all of these different things that you are able to make movies and, you know, put in your media and, you know, benefit off of. You are basically the creator of that. Okay, but this article is called Human Medical Experimentation in the United States. This is in the United States, Babylon the Great, okay, America, which means bitter. And this is a bitter captivity for us, man. The Lord has given us into the worst people on the planet Earth, man. Okay, this is the Song of the Three Holy Children, also known as the Prayer of Azariah, okay, in which we're in that furnace, man. We're about to be in that fiery furnace, man, and the Lord is gonna have mercy on us, man. This is the ultimate test coming down the pipe, man. We're gonna be in the lion's den. Okay, and ultimately, if we don't have divine intervention, we're through. Okay, because when you look at this article and you look at what these devils have been doing, there's no way that we stand a chance living in a system ruled by them. It's just not meant for us to ever rise up or win within the system of Edomite, white, red supremacy, man. Okay, so this is verse 8. It says, "Wherefore all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment," because we deserve it. And, you know, though this is a balance, you know, yeah, we went off, all right, and the Lord put us into your hands, but there's another side to that, and that's where we come in and prophesy at your downfall. You're going to pay for those things, okay? So the Lord have given us into your hand, and really all of these things that have happened to us, you Jakes are marching and trying to figure it out. It's all in the Holy Scriptures, man. Why wouldn't you want to know the reason why it happened? Now, we could sit all day and say, I don't agree with the Most High doing it, but did it happen or not? All right, and then you move forward, man. Well, why? Well, why did it happen? Then you figure out why, and then it leads you into repentance, man. Okay, verse 9, "And thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful workers of the Most High, and to an unjust king and the most wicked in all the world." Okay, and this is ultimately you Edomites, man. Okay, because you're the final captivity, man. All right, our captivity is going to be ended through your fall, man. All right, Lamentation 4:21, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. All right, thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. All right, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins." So this was at the time of the Babylonians taking down, okay, as well as that prayer that we just read, but this was at the time of the Babylonian Empire, man. Okay, and Jeremiah is lamenting over what is happening to the Israelites. The temple was sacked. Basically, they declared martial law and just destroyed Jake. And the Lord had to where through it all. All right, Isaiah seen it, but he ended up being taken to Egypt, man. But he told them what was to come, and it came, and they didn't want to listen to him. But here it is. After that captivity, the Persians and the Medes came into power. Then you had the Greco-Roman Empire. Okay, so the Israelites did not get out of captivity at this time. This is a prophecy, man. So the end of our captivity will come through the fall of Esau, Edom, man. And it's right here, all hidden in the scriptures. Okay, and Esau, Edom, since he's gotten the power, he's completely lost his damn mind, man. All right, and here's why. It's all written in the scriptures. Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob, all right, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of the mourning of my father at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So ever since then, he's had it out for you, man, to kill you, to destroy you, man. Okay, and that story links to Cain when you look up the precept. Okay. Yep, Ezekiel 25:12. Thus saith the Lord God, because Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged itself upon him. So when you look at what's going on in this world, why you Jakes are always getting shot, why you were getting hanged from trees, why they fed your children to alligator, it goes back to this story that is in the Holy Scriptures, man. That's the only way you'll get understanding of why this is happening. A lot of you will say it's because of our swag. Well, it's because we got melanin. You know, it's because of this, it's because of that they mad at you. But none of you will ever go to the Holy Scriptures to get the understanding on that, man. All right? So this is a part of the vengeance for you being blessed and getting the blessing, all right? Esau now has it out to destroy you, man. Now, when you read this article, it's all natural news. I'm surprised it's still up. All right. I'm going to just start here at the warning. But I'll put the link in the description and on the comment board, and you can do what you want with it. But it's just these devils are crazy, man. We'll get some more scriptures too, man. It says, warning, what you're about to read is truly shocking. You have never been told this information by the American Medical Association, all right, nor drug companies, okay, nor the evening news. All right. Yeah, the news isn't going to go into all of what Esau has really done because it's controlled by him. Now, they'll throw you a story here and there on this is happening to make it seem as though they're really tackling these situations. But ultimately, that's all for play. All right. That's all for a reason of witchcraft. And they have the actors and they have a situation and make it seem as though it's really real. All right. And they'll make a judgment and nobody will really go to jail. Okay, these people are all over the world doing wickedness, man. But see, a true judge is coming to the planet Earth. This is why we're putting his works out there, and we're telling the Lord to look, man, like this man is accusing us and lying on us, so we're accusing his ass as well, man. All right, we're 144,000 righteous spiritual snitches, and we telling on you Edomites to our power, man. Okay. Because, like Ezra said, 2nd Ezra 3:34, all right, I'll start at 32. It says, or is there any other people that knoweth thee besides Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? All right, come on, man. These heathen ain't really talking about the scriptures, man. Even the ones who call themselves Jews, they not really dealing with the Bible, man. You see? It says, and yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. And now a remnant of us is back, and we're thinking on the commandments, man. But these heathen ain't thinking about the ways of righteousness, man. They're not thinking about how they can destroy all of this technology and set up righteousness on the earth, man. All they're talking about is forwarding with their chip, their new world order and madness, man. Shooting the moon and all of this and using rats as guinea pigs and humans as guinea pigs for their experiments, man, they ain't going to stop. So what does Ezra say? Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name be found nowhere but in Israel. We're the only ones, Lord. So it's like, come get us, man. Please, Baba Kasha. All right, Shalak Yahweh Shai wa Alahayim. Send Yahweh Shai and the angels, man. Please. All right? And that's our prayer. Okay? So what did he say? Weigh therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also. And what you're going to find out is that they lead the league in wickedness. We have our sins and wickedness, but these people are completely mad, man. These heathen are off the chain, and you Edomites, which we're about to read about you're on a whole nother level, man. All right. I'm gonna just jump to some points, man, because this is a timeline basically of human experiments done in the United States from 1833 to 1965, and you Israelites are the only people on the planet Earth that are told to get over things. Meanwhile, everybody else can bring up and have their history and bring up what happened to them, and remember the Holocaust, remember the Alamo, remember the dogs that Michael Vick fought, remember every guy, remember the who OJ killed, remember this, remember that. Okay, but then when you bring up your destruction, you're to get over it. But see, we look at this thing as a family. All right, I am my forefathers. I am the person that you lynched and hung and fed to alligators. We witnessed those things in another body, you see? And now we're back here in these bodies to curse your ass out and ultimately see your downfall. This is 1830. This is 1845, okay? J. Marion Sims. Now let's look him up. Let's look at this guy up. Because these people who do all of this wickedness later on become heralded as great men, and days are named after them. They have particular high holy days where they honor them. As you can see, he has a mural. Okay, he has a mural statue. Okay, where other Edomites go and they love it. You see, but let's find out what this man was really all about. Okay. J. Marion Sims. This dude was the devil. This dude's the devil, and he did a lot, but it says J. Marion Sims, later hailed as the father of genealogy, all right? And let's see what genealogy means. Let's see. The branch of physiology and medicine that deals with functions and diseases specifically to women and girls. So that whole gynecology system, that's what it is, gynecology system, in which you women go to these different doctors. Okay, the forefront, or that was birthed out of this guy. It says he performed medical experiments on enslaved Israelite women without anesthesia, because we know it says African, but we're Israelites, we're not African. All right, it says these women would usually die of infection soon after surgery, based on his belief that the movement of newborns' skulls, all right, during protracted births cause trismus. He also used a shoemaker's awl, a pointed tool shoemaker to use to make holes in leather, to practice moving the skulls of babies, all right, born to enslaved mothers. So this is, all right, J. Marion Sims, okay, the father of gynecology. I'm going to see my gynecologist, Dr. Patel, all right, or Dr. Ned Anderson, a damn freak, man. Okay, and they make sure to recommend nothing but death to you, man. But you so-called Israelite women love this man. All right, 1895, New York pediatrician Henry Hyman infects a 4-year-old boy whom he calls an idiot with chronic epilepsy with gonorrhea as a part of a medical experiment. Okay. It says Dr. Arthur Wentworth turns 29 children at Boston's Children's Hospital into a human guinea pig when he performs spinal taps on them, just to test whether the procedure is harmful. Okay, and there's so much, man. Let's see. Yep, let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. Yep, Dr. Hideo Noguchi of the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research publishes data on injecting an inactive syphilis preparation into the skin of 146 hospital patients and normal children to attempt to develop a skin test for syphilis. All right. Later on in 1913, several of these children parents sue, all right, for allegedly infecting their children with syphilis. All right. Medical experiments, 1913 tests, all right, 15 children at the New York Children's Home in St. Vincent's House in Philadelphia with, all right, tuberculin, resulting in permanent blindness in some of the children. Okay, this man is the devil, man. Okay, and all he does is sit and experiment on you, Jakes. And based on his studies, he figures out how, all right, to put things in your food that, all right, because when you die, your organs aren't in your uncle when you go to that funeral, man. Okay, when you die, he takes all of your organs and your melanin, and he experiments like a mad scientist with it. And people don't believe us when we bring these things out. Okay, they don't believe that the so-called white man is really that evil. Okay, it's verse 6 in Psalm 64 and 6. It says, "They search out iniquities; they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought and every one of them, and the heart is deep." So the heart is deep, man. These devils go real, real deep in their wickedness and ways to destroy you Israelites, man. Okay, and this is just a few of their works, man. Okay. 1915, all right. Dr. Joseph Goldberger, under the order of the U.S. Public Health Office, all right, produces pellagra, a debilitating disease that affects the nervous system, in 12 Mississippi inmates to try to find a cure for the disease. So here it is. They need to figure out a way to find a cure for the disease. So they put it in your people, okay, just to figure out, all right, well, what medicine works on which, all right, and ultimately they're just trying to figure out a way to destroy you. And they put this stuff in your foods and in your neighborhoods, and you wonder why everything's all messed up, man. All right. One test subject later says that he had been through 1,000 hells. All right. One test subject said that he went through 1,000 hells, man. So this man is the devil, man. In 1935, after millions died from the disease, and these are even some of these people who died from the disease are his own people. He don't care. The director of the U.S. Public Health Office would finally admit that the officials had known that it was caused by a niacin deficiency, all right, for some time, all right, which I believe garlic has some niacin. And it says, but did nothing about it because it mostly affected poor, all right, Israelites, all right. So these people are the devil, man. Okay, let's see here. Wow. All right, 1919. Researchers performed testicular transplant experiments in inmates at San Quentin Prison in California, inserting the testicles of recently executed inmates and goats into the abdomens and scrotums of living prisoners. Now this is wicked, man. This is completely 100% wicked, man. Okay, this is the most wicked captivity ever, man. This is horrible, man. All right. All right. Cornelius Rhodes, a pathologist from the Rockefeller Institute, all right, for medical research, purposely infects humans, all right, test subjects in Puerto Rico with cancer cells. 13 of them die, though a Puerto Rican doctor later discovers that Rhodes purposely covered up some of the details of the experiment, all right, and he gave the testimonies, man, all right, stating that all Puerto Ricans, which are Ephraimites, should be killed, all right. He later goes to establish the U.S. Army of Biological Warfare facility is in Maryland. So at the forefront of all of these rich institutions that these devils have are them destroying you, man. But we supposed to just sit back and be quiet, and we're the problem, man. Hey, that's why the scripture said the righteous man is going to stand in great boldness before the face of such that have afflicted him, man. You see? This is why. This is why you see us out there on the highways and the byways, and we're loud because of this type of stuff, man. And this is just they ain't even 0.1% of it, man. This is just a drop in the bucket, man. Okay, if one drop came out of a water a bucket, you wouldn't miss that. That's how much wickedness that you have, man. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such that have afflicted him and made no account of his labors, man. And we built everything for you devils, man. Okay? You wonder why you're ahead, all right, and there's no such thing as, and people are cursing out Edomite supremacy, man. 250 plus years of free labor, man. Okay? You devils, man, you devils are going to pay, man. Okay? Tuskegee, 1932 through 72, it says the U.S. Public Health Service in Tuskegee, Alabama, diagnoses 400 poor black sharecroppers with syphilis, but never tells them of their illness nor treats them. Instead, researchers use the men as human guinea pigs to follow the symptoms of progression of the disease. They all eventually die from syphilis, and their families are never told that they, all right, could have been treated. These people are the devil, man. Okay, and they use all of you Americans as guinea pigs, but the main target is you the Israelite children. They make sure from a young age that they get them hooked on these medications, man, and they don't never shake back. The reason these children are shooting each other up and becoming big losers, and they don't know, is a lot of them are under these psych meds, man, this witchcraft, okay? And what did the Lord say was found in Babylon? Witchcrafts, sorceries, okay? But now that whole thing is coming back on them. And they're dying from all these diseases. You see how the Lord works? Okay? Let's see. Giving people the placebo. All right. In order to test his theory on the roots of stuttering, prominent speech pathologist Dr. Wendell Johnson performs his famous monster experiment on 22 children at the Iowa Soldiers Orphans Home. And these orphan homes, they rape and destroy these children, man, and torture them. All right, the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. All right, this is Proverbs 12:10. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, which Esau don't give a damn about the beast, man. They're even fed up with his ass. Okay, a cow with an attitude. You look at these animals; they got attitudes, man. All right, it says, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So even his mercies are cruel, man. So this man has no chill, man. As you can see, he just keeps going. All right. And you look up these men. Let's look up Dr. Wendell Johnson, and they're just painted as just complete. And you know this man was the devil. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a great man, you know. He didn't even live a long life, man. And he's back here today, and he's gonna be judged, man. All right, hey Lord, you devils are for the lose, man. It says, Dr. William C. Black infects a 12-month-old so-called black with herpes, man. And they don't care. okay, as a part of a medical experiment, man. Oh, man. Wickedness, man. Let's see. In order to study the effect of frigid temperatures on mental disorders, researchers at University of Cincinnati Hospital keep 16 mentally disabled patients in refrigerated cabinets, all right, for 120 hours at 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. Wow. This is why we call you the devil, man. Who only the devil would do this? It says he who's coming is after the working of Satan. And this is what, if there was a Satan who walked the earth, all right, this is what he would do. This is what he would be into. Okay, that's why when you look at his movies, the horror movies, man, that stuff is wicked, man. This dude has a messed up, demented mind, and it's all coming out, man. And even in these times, he's getting caught doing all sorts of wickedness, man. All right? Put goat balls in your scrotum, bro. What is that all about, bro? And he ain't looking to stop, okay? And these are long ones. I mean, it's so much more. You know, you read it on your own time, you know, but I just wanted to bring this article out again because this is why we call you the devil, man. You see? Oh, man. Yep. Oh, the CIA in the 50s. Up to no good. Wickedness. Look at all of this wickedness, man. There's so much wickedness, man. Oh, man. All this damn wickedness, man. And look, he even did this to you Moabites, man. In 1954, the CIA begins Project, all right, whatever that is, all right, to study Chinese Communist Party brainwashing techniques and use them to further the CIA's own interrogative methods, which they were doing it to these jakes. But they used a Moabite brainwashing technique, because Moab is a demon, man, on you jakes, man. Okay, on the people, period, man. This man is the devil, man. This man is a untamed gorilla. Okay, in 55, a U.S. Army sponsored experiment performed at Tulane University. Mental patients, all right, are given LSD and other drugs, then have electrodes implanted into their brain to measure the levels. All right, in 1955 to 57, see, there's so much I could have been reading up there, but I'm just, you know, getting through it. In order to learn how the cold weather affects human psychology, researchers give a total of 200 people doses of iodine, all right, a radioactive tracer that concentrates almost immediately on the thyroid gland, all right, to 85 healthy Eskimos, all right, and 17 Athapascan Indians living in Alaska. They study the tracer within the body, all right, thyroid tissue, urine, and saliva samples, all right, from the test subjects. Due to the language barrier, no one tells the test subjects what is being done to them, so there is none, all right, informed, all right. No one consented, okay. The CIA, and as a result of their work, the CIA's mind control experiments and the project, all right, I just say Hilltop, all right, Cornell neurologist Harold Wolf and Lawrence Hinkle begin the Society, all right, for an investigation of human ecology, later named the Human Ecology Fund. And this is the foundation of that. And you look it up, and they'll probably have a website, all right. But see, the internet is ruining you devils, man. The internet is ruining because all this stuff is all on the forefront now. Okay, this stuff is all on the forefront now, man. And you devils, these are billion-dollar industries, man, that really people look to as something to help. But what they're all built upon It's the destruction of you Israelites, man. All right? Oh, man. All sorts of wickedness, man. Radiation. Let's see. In response to the Nuremberg trials, Yale psychologist Stanley Milgram begins his famous obedience to authority study in order to answer his question, could it be that each man and his million accomplices in the Holocaust were just following orders? Could we all call them accomplices? Male test subjects ranging from 20 to 40. This man is the devil. He'll just sit and think something up and say, well, let's figure it out through destroying niggas. These man is crazy, man. All right? And he gets funded to do this stuff, man, ranging from 20 to 40, coming from all educational backgrounds, are told to give learner electric shocks for every wrong answer, and the learners give in response toward their paired questions. In reality, the learners are actors and are not, all right, receiving electric shocks. But what matters is that the test subjects do not know that. Astoundingly, they keep on following orders to continue to administer increasingly levels of electric shocks, even after the actor learns how obvious, show obvious psychopath. This man's a psychopath, man. And it's so much more, man. It's so much more, man. You devils, man. The Department of Defense uses human test subjects wearing rubber clothing, all right, and masks to conduct 35 trials near Fort Greely, Alaska, as a part of the elk hunt tests, which are designed to measure the amount of VX nerve agent put on the clothing of people moving from VX contaminated areas of touching contaminated vehicles. All right. As a result of a test, all right, codenamed Big Tom, the Department of Defense says Oahu, Hawaii's, all right, most heavy populated island, all right, sprays, all right, he sprayed, all right, this part of Hawaii with the most heavily polluted bullshit, all right, in order to stimulate an attack on an island complex, all right, and it caused infections in people with weakened immune system, but this was not known to the scientists at that time. So, I mean, this is why we call you the devil, man. Okay? And, you know, you can read this article on your own, but I just wanted to bring this out, man. That this man is a complete madman, and he's not going to stop, okay? Psalm 64:6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. All right, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their tongue fall upon their own selves, all that see them shall flee away. And this is an example. Now, the guy who wrote this article, all right, is an Edomite, okay? Is an Edomite, most likely. Okay, and why is this happening? Because the scripture said that in the latter days, they would make their own tongues fall upon themselves, man. So this research is being done by other Edomites against other Edomites, man, to bring out the wickedness of what your history is based upon. Because as the scriptures say, you're full of the sins of your youth, man. You haven't changed. All right, you're still the wicked, you're still the devil, and your basis. Okay, because think about what Cain did. When Cain killed Abel, he was trying to destroy him, man. So now that he has the power, all right, Cain is he's trying to destroy you, man. Okay? And this is just not by design. This goes back to the story of Jacob and Esau in the Holy Scriptures, man. Okay? So I just wanted to bring that out. I didn't want to go too long or too deep into this article because it's so much. But it's stuff that I probably skipped over that if you see it, your mind will be blown at the wickedness of what this so-called white man has done. So with that, give all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the elect out there pushing this word in sincerity and truth, man, and believing in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. I wanted to do a quick video. I was watching Apostle Tahar's video on Gog and Magog, which in the scriptures you got Gog and Magog, and that's referenced into Russia. It says to tap into the spirit world for World War III. You know, they got this new weapon, which I read a little bit into the article, and what it does, they said that it feels like a ball of light moving in front of our eyes, So I was watching this other video earlier today, and it made me realize that, over the time, because you see these different articles come out, but when you just see it set in front of you like that, that Russia really going in with sharpening that sword, man. You can see here in March they had Test for Satan 2, and it's funny because they called it Satan. Satan means adversary, and one of the generals, you watch this video, there's a title right there. One of the generals in this video on the American side was basically saying, yeah, that's our adversary. They were they know what it is. Okay, and in September they had the War Games of China. October, military installations, upgrades in the Baltic Sea, and then America were also saying about this nesting doll satellite that they were worried about, because they were thinking, okay, is it going to use lasers, or is it going to be designed to crash into so-called Western satellites, man, the American satellites, and so on and so forth. So there is a military build-up, man. A sword is being sharpened, man, and that's actually prophesied. We'll get that in the scriptures. This is Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 9. It says, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. Right, so there's been a sword that's being sharpened and it's also being furbished, man. What do you do when you sharpen a sword? You get a sword more honed and ready to kill, to do damage, man. To do the thing that a sword is a killing instrument. Okay, in order for you to be the most effective with that killing instrument, you got to keep that killing instrument sharp, man. And one way with that is to constantly increase the technology and keep it, and also, like for an example, in the ancient day, you'd have a sword and you have a whetstone, and that whetstone will sharpen that sword, the same way that you do that with a knife today. But the way that this war is gonna go is not gonna go how it is. How it was in the ancient days, man. Okay, that sword it's talking about, that's being sharpened, okay, today, Gog and Magog, which is Russia, which we'll get that in Ezekiel 38 as well, which is in the scriptures. See, so all these prophecies, all these things are in the scriptures, man. Okay, that's why, the Bible is the truth, man. Okay, the scriptures are the truth. Okay, because you can look at what's going on today, and you can filter it through the prophecies within the scriptures, man. If you've been given the ears to hear and the eyes to see, man. Now I was looking into this article, and basically they're going in heavy, man. Russia going in heavy, and that's good because the Lord is building them up to be their adversary against America. Okay, because there's these two sides right now, these two superpowers on the earth, man. Okay, opposing sides. And what does the scripture say? What is it? Is it Luke 14? Let's see what Luke 14:23 says. No, it's not that one. Divided against kingdom. Okay, so this is Mark 3:24, straight to the point. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Now, right now, okay, we're in Esau's rulership, the so-called white man, the Edomites. Yeah? Okay, the red Hebrew Edomites. And right now we're in their kingdom, and their kingdom is divided, man. It's all over the place. Okay, so how is it going to stand? How, if you don't have unity, you don't have that oneness, then how are you going to stand? Okay. Now, one example I always like to use is when Israel were in its heyday, so to say. King David, uniting everyone, and King Solomon, which was Yahweh Shai, in the reincarnation. Basically, was the there was 40 years of peace, man. There was, it was a good rulership. It was a good rulership. Excuse me, I just need to take Salakia. I'm gonna continue with the lesson. I just had to take a quick call. So yeah, man. Hey, Mark 3:24 hits the point. It says, "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." And the example I was giving was when Israel went rulership, when King Solomon was on the throne. Okay, they had 40 years of peace, and there was no north or south divide. You know, Israel was its kingdom, man. It was in its power. You know, in the time of King David, all the other kingdoms around it was subjugated. Okay, and they were brought low, and Israel was exalted, man. You know. And if you look at Esau's kingdom, it's completely divided. What happened to Israel? When Israel, Rehoboam and Jeroboam, when it divided, when the Lord did that, really, you know, that oneness was gone. That structure, that power that Israel had was gone, man. It got divided, and that was just basically alluding to a matter of that after we kept going off, you know, these different nations came and took us over, man, pursuant to the curses. So if you look at Esau's kingdom is hella divided, and that's in the scriptures as well. That what the miry clay, okay. So it's just a matter of time that it's not going to be able to stand, and that's why it says that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. You know, when this World War III comes to that climax, which is going to come, because as you can see in this video, I made sure that it was on this still. You can see the build up that's been happening over time, man. You know, Apostle Hart brought out that clip about this article. And it's like they're really, really sharpening that sword. They're really, the Lord is actually giving them that tech to make this war. Because it says in Isaiah, in fact, it says in Isaiah 9, I believe, that this war ain't going to be like them ancient wars. Because we were talking about the sword being sharpened. Well, this is what it says in Isaiah 9:5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." So them ancient wars, you know, before the war, a warrior would get the whetstone, he'd sharpen up that sword, make sure that killing instrument is in its optimum state, man. You know, and whoever the blacksmith was, he would have got the blueprints to set up that killing instrument for the army. Well, now you've got these different weapon companies that are basically going to the highest bidder, and Russia's getting, from the article that we read, Russia's getting them contracts, man, because they're coming up with, they're getting them. They had Satan 2. Okay, they got these missiles that America are worried about. They don't even know how to. Putin's boasting that there's missiles they can't even deal with because of the supersonic levels, you know. And they're saying, oh, you know, it's hearsay. There's no backing of it. But that's part of war. You know, that's part of war. You got propaganda. You got them basically jousting. You know, they're putting out different things out there to scare the enemy. And that American general pretty much straight up come and said, that's the adversary. We've got to protect against the adversary. When he was talking about up with the satellites, man. Now, like we read here in Isaiah 9:5, those ancient wars, that's how it was. But it says, "But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." Okay, it's going to be that thermonuclear destruction, man. That's what it's alluding to. The arrows that are in the scriptures, okay? That's that ICBM nuclear fire, ICBM technology, them nukes, which stands for intercontinental ballistic missile, man. So that's the war that's coming ahead, man. World War III is prophesied in Revelation, which we'll get that as well. Okay, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, and I'm going to read Ezekiel the 38th chapter as well, show you, because Apostle Har named this video Gog and Magog when the article said Russia, because Russia's in the scriptures, man. All these prophecies everything that's happening right now on the earth, all these prophecies are in the scriptures, and that's how we know. That's how we measure the time. We know the time that we're in, because these weapons are not being built up for no reason. They're being built up. These killing instruments are being built up for that massive slaughter, man. That great slaughter that's going to come on the earth, man. Okay, so let me read that in Revelation. So Revelation 11. This Revelation chapter 11 verse 14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." And the word woe there means destruction, man. And that's talking about the Second World War, and it's saying the third woe, which is the Third World War, which hasn't happened yet, which we're in the midst of it. It hasn't come to its climax yet. It's saying it's coming quickly, man. Pretty much from the late 40s, okay, as soon as that World War II ended, we come into that Cold War, man. America and Russia were pretty much going at it, okay? And that's why it says, in fact, I'm going to get it in Ezekiel 38. That's why they said something very specific in Ezekiel 38. Because this ain't no new thing. This has been going on for a while. It's just that it's coming, now the Lord's had it where it's coming to that time where it's coming to that climax, okay? Because there has to be a time when them nukes are flying, okay, where the scriptures are going to be fulfilled, where Babylon's going to be completely destroyed with nuclear fire, man, and the Lord's going to return and save his elect, the elect of the nation of Israel. Those prophecies have to come to pass, man. Now it says in Ezekiel 38, from the top, it says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." And why does it say prophesy against him? Because the Lord is building up Russia, not because Russia's going to be some next superpower or China, you know, like these guys, these carnal guys who don't know the scriptures are saying. The Lord is actually, Yahweh Shai is against Russia, man. The only reason Russia's being built up is so that they can basically do that mutual destruction in Esau's kingdom, and the Lord return and set up the righteous kingdom on earth, man, to basically completely destroy these different nations, different rulerships, man, and take the crowns off their heads. Okay? And it says, and say, "Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog." Right? So just to reiterate the point, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and you know, like I mentioned earlier, that's talking about Russia. Okay, so Russia's in the scriptures. Now this is the key point. It says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." So they're putting them back into that spirit, man. Okay, that Cold War spirit. But that Cold War, you know, I made a video a couple weeks back, a couple days back, I believe, where, hey, pretty much that Cold War is now coming into that hot war, man. Okay, it's just a matter of time when the heat is gonna rise. And it's gonna really rise when them thermonuclear fires start, them arrows start getting shot off, man. Okay, there's gonna be mass death on the earth, man, because it's prophesied within the scriptures. You know, it says, "I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling in swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet." Now, it named a couple of the allies, okay, of Russia, and if you keep reading, in verse 7, it says, "Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." Now, if you notice one thing about Russia, okay, Russia's building up its offensive capability, but at the same time, it's also built up a defensive capability with its allies, the S-300s, the S-400s, okay, which are the anti-aircraft missile systems, defense systems. So it's being a guard onto its different allies, man. What's been going on in Venezuela? The first thing Putin said is, hands off. So this is just the proxy wars that are going on between the two superpowers on the earth, man. You got proxy wars going on between Iran and Saudi Arabia, which are Saudi Arabia allies with America, and Iran are allies with Russia. So this is just, it's proxy wars upon proxy wars, but it's just a matter of time before the chess moves, okay, because they're playing chess right now. They're positioning, because that's war. It just comes a matter of time before that battle comes to that fruition. It's that final battle, that climactic battle where the decisive victory is coming to hand, man. And the decisive victory is this, that the Lord's prophecies are going to come to pass. America is going to be destroyed, which is Babylon the Great, and Yahweh Shai is going to come and return, and he's going to come with them chariots and all the angels, the real army, the hosts of heaven, and he's going to come and establish righteousness upon the earth, man, putting Israel upon the earth through his elect. You know, and that's what's coming, man. But, you know, I hope that's been edifying. You know, I recommend you watch these videos because they're very edifying on the different things that are going on between Russia and America, man. So, hope that's been edifying. Till next lesson, Shalom.
Barak Yahweh, Barak Shai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Shai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. The belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Citations should hopefully elect out there, man. You brothers that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shimon, I'm with. And what we're going to do is get into the topic of how the prophets pretty much hated their fucking lives, alright? Alright? They weren't happy or about their current state in the world, man. All right, so when you come in this thing, you're gonna get acquainted with grief, brothers. So let's get into it.
What you want, Philippians first?
No, get that first one you had up in John, and you could.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the book of John 12:25. It says, "He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life." He that hateth his life in this world shall keep it.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Who that love his life? What's it going into? It's talking about people that love their life in the present world, that love that worldly life. All right. Scriptures speak about you can't have two masters, man. All right. Either you're gonna love the one or hate the other. Because when you're in this world, your master is Satan. And when you come in this thing, what your master is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And there's certain things that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai told us to do that contradict with this world and contradict with what we want to do in this world, particularly our flesh. All right, and if you look at it in a practical sense, right? If I'm a master and you a master and we have a servant, and there's a fork in the road. You tell him to go right, and I say, no, you have to go left. He can't serve both of us, all right? So it's you can't have two masters, man, all right? So you have to choose in this thing. And when you choose Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, you're going to hate your present life because you're going to say, damn, man, this contradicts a lot with the Lord, man. What the Lord wants us to do, man. You know? And that's why the scripture says, what? With much knowledge comes much grief. You could jump to the book of Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. What book of Shah? Yeah, it's not on the list, but the Spirit said, let's go to it.
Isaiah 53.
You can start at 1. Yeah.
It says, Isaiah 53:1. Who has believed our report, and whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
Yeah, who has believed our report? I mean, a lot of Jake ain't gonna believe in this thing, man. All right. Like the way Isaiah is saying it is in the sense of like rhetorical. Like, man, how many Jakes believe this? You know what I'm saying? He's saying it like that, which is a small remnant, man. Continue.
Verse 2. It says, for he shall grow before him as a tender plant, as a root out of the dry ground.
This is the prophecy concerning our Lord Yahushua. Continue.
It says, he have no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that should desire him.
And look, man, that scripture ain't talking about the Lord as an ugly person, man. All right, no, the scripture is talking about when you see the Lord, when he walks on the scene, he's gonna come on a donkey, man. He's gonna come lowly. All right, and that's letting you know that that these, you know, like how you got our people are following a lot of false prophets because they come in that manner of a glorious private jet type shit, man. And that's why they reject. That's why a lot of our people rejected our Lord in the first and foremost, because Jake deal with appearance. They deal with like outward things. They got to see shit. For Jake to listen to you, you got to be doing better than them. You know what I'm saying? So of course, when our Lord came on the scene, you had niggas being niggas. Y'all was shot at you. I mean, I know that nigga, man. That's Joseph's son, bro. Sisters is right here. You know what I'm saying? And just like us. You know, we telling people that, hey, we're the prophets of the Lord. Man, come on, my nigga. I went to school with you. Chill out. You know, so that's how Jake is thinking, man. They want the prophets to be levitating out the sky in a lotus position. No, man, prophets come real life scenario, all right? Fellow kingsmen, fellow Israelites, and prophets ain't gonna be no happy-go-lucky people, man. They gonna be catching hell, man. There's gonna be a lot on their mind, all right? Because constant demons around you in the form of thoughts, people, and scenarios, man. Continue.
Yeah, like the saying going, man. Money talks, man. You know, if you got money, niggas gonna listen to you, man. You know what I'm saying? If fucking Dr. Dre or Eminem came out and said they were Israelites and started teaching, you know how many millions of people will be there, man? You know?
Right.
But to them, we just a bunch of broke Negroes, man. Ain't much to hear from us.
Yeah, when you read the scriptures, man, we was going to the history lesson about Jeremiah, right? And when you read it, you're like, why the fuck these niggas didn't just listen to Jeremiah? But then you got to throw yourself back there. They didn't see Jeremiah as we seen Jeremiah today. Like, this guy is going to have one of the largest parts in the book of the Bible.
Same way we see them today and they see us, man.
Yeah, brother.
Man, Jeremiah, man.
Right.
They're from my house. They're from my hood. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I grew up.
That's how they see us, man.
Well, that's what they said about, that's what Baloo said about Abba Bivens. Abba Bivens is Elijah? Nigga from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's how it's gonna be, and that's what the scripture says. We're not great. The servant's not greater than his master, because that's the same thing they said about the Lord, man. And we're reading it. Go ahead.
And that's why the scripture tell you, man. That's why when the Lord asked Peter, who is he? And Peter said, I believe you're the son of the Most High. And Peter said, what? Flesh and blood have not revealed that unto you, man.
Right.
But the Spirit, man. There's a lot of things that you're not going to read about. Abba Bivens is going to be Elijah.
Right.
But the Spirit of the Most High is going to reveal it to you.
The apostle of the hall is this person. The apostles are that person. You know what I'm saying? It's not just going to say it like that.
Yeah.
All right? You're going to have to believe that, listen, the apostles, the elders, and the brothers of Great Millstone, all the men that the Most High appointed, man. You ain't gonna just flat out say it. Join Great Millstone to be saved. Which joining Great Millstone doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be saved anyways.
Right, man. Verse 3, it says, he was despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief.
Acquainted with grief. So the servant is not greater than his masters, man. So you brothers, primarily the brothers that are coming in, you know, relative a few couple years, you're gonna see shit. Damn, shit was, you know, it's gonna straight up be like, damn, my life was a lot easier before this thing in terms of the stress and shit that you're gonna go with, man. And that's just a fact. All right. So the Lord, if the Lord was acquainted to grief, man, all these graves at the age of 30 something, 33, in his 30s, right? How much more so us, man? All right. And this is just a practice run of what's to come, because guess what, man? The hell and stress is only going to be intensified when martial law kicks in and Jacob's trouble kicks in, man.
That's right, man. It says, and he was hid, as it were, of our and he was hid, as it were, our faces from him.
What verse you in?
Verse 3.
You go to the next scripture. I just wanted to pull up the grief out.
Okay.
If y'all want to just read Isaiah 53 on your own, that's cool, because it goes into exactly why, you know, our people you know, wasn't feeling the Lord as a true son of man.
Let me get this precept then.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Romans 12:1. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service.
Got it, brother.
You know what I'm saying? So the Lord said, present your bodies as what? Reasonable sacrifice, man. What does that mean, bro? You know what I'm saying? Saturday nights, I can't go to the club no more. You know? Saturday nights, I can't chill with my woman no more. I gotta go out there and do the work, man. Or wherever other night you do the work, man.
You gotta sacrifice your lust.
You know? Sacrifice your lust, sacrifice your family. You know? Because you leaving your family to do the work, man. You know? And if anybody want to leave you because you're doing this work, hey, you gotta sacrifice that. Hey, fuck that, man. You know, y'all niggas ain't saving me, man. You know? So this truth, you gotta make sacrifices, man. This ain't your old life no more, man. Party every fucking Saturday night. You know? Go to church on Sunday.
Yep, not eating what you want to eat. You know how many times bitches and said, listen, man, you know, I can't see you on my period. I don't know if this is gonna work. Well, it's not gonna work. You know?
Right, man.
Go ahead, brother.
You go see some other sucker, man. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It says, a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Meaning you're supposed to fucking do it, man. You know? Hell, you make sacrifices and go see a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Don't drive through snow for pussy, brother.
You know? Niggas don't walk through snow for pussy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that more, you gotta do 10 times more for this truth, man, for the Most High. That wasn't on that, bro. I'll get Philippians for you, man.
Alright,
so Philippians, 21, right?
Yeah, 1 to 21 to like 24.
Okay. 1 and 21. For it says Philippians 1:21. For me to live is Yahweh Shai, and to die is gain.
Read it again.
It says, for me to live is Yahweh Shai, and to die is gain.
What does that mean? The Apostle Paul, as the brother's gonna go on reading, you know, you die in Yahweh Shai, it's a great game, man. You die in this truth, you're gonna be the first on the chariots. All right. Hey, if it was up to us, man, we wouldn't want to be on this fucking world, man. We just rather be with the Lord. And the scriptures tell you that in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter. You can hold that, brother, and let's go to it real quick.
Ecclesiastes 4th chapter?
Yeah, 4 and 9. No, 4 and 3. Let me see. Like, it's pretty much telling you it's better to be in the spirit world than to fucking be here, man. Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter.
Yeah, it is.
4 and 3?
4 and 3.
Yep.
Ecclesiastes 4 and 3. Yea, better is he than both they which have not yet been, but have not seen the evil work, that which is done under the sun.
Yeah, man. And a brother gave me that scripture, you know. Hey, man, fuck it. I'm just gonna say it, you know what I'm saying? When you know, one of my demons had a miscarriage or whatever. You know, I was a little shook up, and he gave me that scripture. It comforted me, man, because I was like, wait, that's all the Lord, man, and that person. That baby went whatever, right? Didn't have to go through what we're gonna go through. I'm like, so that's really like a mercy type thing, man. Because what's to come, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all types of hell. Not to say that, you know, brothers with children, the Most High, of course, is gonna work for you and your family. But hey, man, the scripture says what it says, man. You gotta throw your emotions out the window, man, and get comforted by these words. Like, yo, for real, man.
I say it all the time. I say when I see my son, man, I'm like, damn, he's kind of better off in the spirit world, man. Because all the shit to come, man. Terrible fucking things are gonna happen, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, you know? Brothers be like, yo, brother put up prayers. Listen, Lord, just close her womb, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Jeremiah 16. We gotta get that now, real quick.
Jeremiah 16.
Jeremiah 16 and 1. real quick, man, to just prove what we saying, because some of the things that we say for the first time coming in, you emotions might get you. Damn, they saying don't have a family. They saying it's better off my kid done died. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jay. It's just sound crazy when outside there, bro. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 16:1. It says, the word of Yahweh come also unto me, saying, came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place.
Yeah, because what happened in Jerusalem, that shit got ultimately desolated. Everything get reincarnated. The same thing today, man. Jerusalem is a people before it's gonna play. A people before it's a place, it's gonna get extremely desolated, man. Fucked up. And that's why the Lord said, man. The Lord said what He said. It was better off more of them that get sucked in those days, because you're gonna have average Jakes that's not knowing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And trusting they babies with another person just to have that thing that baby get killed, man. All right, and eaten.
Yeah, and brothers, this scripture don't mean if you have a kid in this world that you went off, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord just saying it's a better thing for you not to do it. You know what I'm saying? Which, take my advice, I suggest you brothers that don't have children, don't have children. You know, wait till the next life, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Women, kids, all that stuff is really better off in the kingdom, because it takes away time from this work, man. All right? It's just, this is more distraction.
Not only that, man. You basically born your child into fucking hell, man.
Yeah, well, we just read it. Ecclesiastes the 4th chapter. And wait a minute, that was being said before it was even in America.
That's crazy.
So that means, wait a minute. So that means the prophets understood. King Solomon was a man of wisdom. He understood that what, man? This is the place of judgment, man. This is, you know what I'm saying? The spiritual world, the spiritual realm is straight paradise, man. That's when spirits really get rest, not fucking here under the sun, man. This is all types of, you in these bodies, all aches and pains. You gotta take herbs to maintain them. In the spiritual world, you're not worrying about a 9 to 5 and all that type of shit, man.
Spiritual world, all you worry about,
you just with the Lord.
You just having kids in the spiritual world. That's the time, man.
Nah, I'm talking about the heavens, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the kingdom.
The kingdom,
it's like it. You know, but yeah, in the kingdom, that's the time to have children, man.
Man, that's what we're gonna be having kids upon. We're gonna lose track of their names, but we're gonna have the power to remember them. But
remember, we got to bring Israel back. Lord willing, we be the elect. We got to bring those princes and princesses back, man. So that's a lot of love making, man. Israel's as the sands of the sea.
And Jake love fucking now, so it's
gonna
gonna work.
Time in the world, baby. You know what I'm saying? You want more on this? Or
no, let's jump back to the few scriptures, the 2 scriptures we got on the list, because we run out of time. Got like 3 minutes.
Back in Philippians 1:22. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor. Yet what shall I choose? I what not? For I am in strait betwixt two, having desire to depart and to be with Yahweh Shai.
Yeah, look at that. The apostle was like, man, part of me just want to just fucking die and be with the Lord, man. And brothers think like that. Ain't nothing wrong with thinking like that. You have some type of sense. You're like, man, fuck this shit, man. The Lord just, man.
Brothers, I think like that all the fucking time, man. You know.
Well, we got Kings next, right?
Yeah, we got Kings.
Oh, well, we gotta read. We gotta go through and then jump back to Kings real quick. Go ahead.
It says, for I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Yahweh Shai, which is far better.
Now let's read this one of Kings real quick before we close out.
1 Kings 19:1. And Ahab told Jezebel.
Points at 4, right?
Yeah, points at 4.
Yeah, just jump straight to 4.
1 Kings 19:4. But he himself went a day's journey to the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree and requested himself that he might die.
That's straight. There ain't no breaking that down. Yeah, one of the greatest prophets, Elijah, saying, oh, man, just take me. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Don't take your own life, because the scriptures tell you that you're not supposed to you're not supposed to destroy yourself with your own hands. That's in the book of Wisdom of Solomon. But brothers are gonna feel that way after a while, man. All the grief, all the bullshit, man. Fuck this shit, Lord. I'm ready to just be with you, man.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. That's Yahweh Shai's guy right here, man. You know, Elijah.
Yeah.
It says, matter of fact, he came back as Yahweh Shai's cousin. It says, let me see. And requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers.
Yeah, man, so the prophets are going to pretty much hate their fucking lives, man. The only thing that they're going to love is this teaching, really. That's the only thing that's going to really keep them going, alright? I mean, of course, you have other things, external things, but the primary thing, man, that really gives us our feel, man, is doing this work, man. That's the only reassurance, like, man, when you feel like, fuck this place, Man, let me go do a show, man.
Hey, my question to you, brother, is like,
sorry, brother. Whatever you say, just goes
yeah, you know, when you do your bullshit, man, you know, like, let's say you have fun, you know, you smash this chick, smash that chick. Well, knowing what you know, man, are you really having fun? I answer that for you, no, because this is all temporary, man. It's all vain. This is all vanity, man.
It's a temporary fun.
You know what I'm saying? You have fun with that bitch for a little while, and then that's it, man.
Reality kicks back in.
Reality kicks back in, man. I'm in fucking hell. But with that, you know what I'm saying, we're going to say, all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Markin.
Shalom.
And they, you know, when I walked in with the two white men that had carried me down, and they cursed me all the way down. They would ask me questions, and when I would try to answer, they would tell me to hush. And when I walked inside of the booking room, one of the policemen went over and jumped up on one of the Negroes' feet that was with us, and then they just began to, you know, put us in cells. And I was put in a cell with Miss Sylvester Simpson, and after I was put in this cell, I could just hear some horrible screams and horrible sounds, you know, of licks. And I saw one of the girls was 15 years old, was with us, and she passed my cell, and she was real bloody. And then they asked the little man that cleaned up the jail to go inside and mop up that blood. And then I heard some more screaming, and I heard some awful sounds. And I would hear somebody when they say, "Can't you say yes, sir, nigger? Can't you say yes, sir?" And they would call her names that I wouldn't want to go on tape. And she said, "Yes, I can say yes, sir." So I said, and she said, "I don't know you well enough." And I would hear when she would hit the floor again. And finally she began to pray, and she asked God to have mercy on these people because they didn't know what they was doing. And after a while they passed my cell door with this young woman, Miss Annelle Ponder, and one of her eyes looked like blood, and her hair was standing up on her head, and her clothes had been torn from the shoulder down to the waist. And then 3 white men came to my cell, and one of them was a state highway patrolman because he was wearing a little silver plate across his pocket that said John L. Bassinger. And he asked me where I was from, and I told him I was from Rouville. And he said, "I'm going to check that." And he went out, and I guess he called Rouville. And they didn't like me in Rouville because I worked with voter registration there. And when he came back, he said, "You damn right." They said, "You're from Rouville, all right, and we gonna make you wish you was dead." And they led me out of that cell into another cell, and he gave a Negro prisoner a blackjack, and he ordered me to lay down on a bunk bed. And the Negro prisoner said, "Do you want me to beat her with this, sir?" And he said, "You're damn right, because if you don't, you know what I'll do for you." And I laid down on the bunk like he ordered me to do. And the first Negro beat me. He beat me until he was exhausted. And after he beat, the state highway patrolman ordered the second Negro to take the blackjack. And during the time he was beating, I began to work my feet because that was a horrible experience. And the state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro that had beat to sit on my feet, while the second one beat. And I just began to scream where I couldn't control it. And then the white man got up and began to beat me in the head. I have a blood clot now in the artery to the left thigh, and a permanent kidney injury on the right side from that beating. These are the things that we go through in the state of Mississippi, just trying to be treated like a human being.
Giving all praise to Yahweh. The wants to make your life is true. The day in Yahweh Shai should rise first. And the wants the elders and apostles that told me the truth, the elders of the house of David, 144,000.
And the elect, 1/3 men, women, and children, is part of the elect. To the Israelite foreigners that are scattered in the four corners of the earth, confusing their faces, speaking in different tongues, meaning different languages, where Israel was scattered. And the elect are waking up, and there's more and more earthquakes happening around the world. And our brother just enlightened me on this. 10 earthquakes strike the coast. 10 earthquakes strike the coast of Northern California in less than 24 hours. Matthew 24. Matthew 24 tells you clearly. Earthquakes in diverse places. 10 earthquakes strike the coast of Northern California in less than 24 hours. A cluster of earthquakes strike off the coast of California near Petrola in Humboldt County on Saturday and Sunday. 10 earthquakes of primarily magnitudes between 3.0 and 4.5 struck off the coast of Northern California between Saturday and Sunday, and the United States Geological Survey reports. The series of earthquakes rumbled beneath the Pacific Ocean between 3 miles and 27 miles west of Petrolia in Humboldt County. The first earthquakes struck early Saturday morning at a magnitude of 4.3, while the second earthquake, 3.2 magnitude, rumbled about 30 minutes later. 3 additional earthquakes between 4:30 p.m. and 5:38 p.m. Saturday in the same area, registering magnitude between 2.9 and 3.6. USGS reported a 3.0 magnitude earthquake struck that night at 11:37 p.m. Geological activity continued on to Sunday. USGS reported 4 earthquakes near Petrolia between 2:18 and 4:05 p.m. The earthquakes ranged in magnitude from 3.4 to 4.5. More than 240 people from Mendocino to McKinleyville said they felt the 4.5 magnitude earthquake that struck Sunday at 18 p.m. According to USGS Online front report page, there were no initial word on damage or injury resulting from the quakes. The National Weather Service office in Eureka on Sunday afternoon, there was no tsunami danger. Hey man, there's a lot of earthquakes in diverse places. See the latest USGS quake alerts, report feeling earthquake activity, and tour interactive fault maps in SF Gates earthquake section. Start receiving breaking news, even more, goes to something else. But basically, man, 10 earthquakes in 24 hours, man. Northern California, man. Earthquakes in diverse places, man. The whole world's upside down. The weather's upside down. The people's minds are upside down. Wickedness is running rampant. And these are all signs of things to come. And it's 10. 10 means perfection. Like the scriptures say, behold, Satan shall cast some of you into prisons for 10 days, which means perfection. You know, in 24 hours. You know, this devil's time is up, man. You know, earthquakes in diverse places, war all over the world. That's war right there. War all over the world. With Venezuela and the U.S. and Colombia. That whole thing down there is just war. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran. Russia and China and Iran teaming up against the U.S. This whole INF treaty, they're cutting off. So things is popping off, man. You know, there's so much prophecies going on in the world, man. That's why we got to keep our eyes on the prophecies. This is why the Lord created the internet, so we can see what's happening in the four corners of the earth. And that's how you know this is the last days. Because how we know about earthquakes in diverse places without the internet, which is mentioned in Psalms 19? How we know about earthquakes in diverse places? Was that in our grandmama's time? No. Was that in our grandparents' time? No. Because how we know about earthquakes all over the world? By way of the internet. And this is how the word is getting on. The elect are being sealed, and we can see the prophecies being unfolded, man. We can see the prophecies being unfolded. We can see the prophecies being unfolded. You know, we know about earthquakes in Japan. You know, in Northern California, in Guatemala, volcanoes, and even scientists are saying earthquakes is at an all-time high. Earthquakes is at an all-time high, and that the Lord said there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. And this is how you know this is the last days, because how do we know about earthquakes in diverse places? Through the internet. This is how we're waking up in the truth, through the internet. The Lord said the end's going to come when the word hits the four corners by way of the internet. Psalms 19. So the Most High created the internet not to be twerking and showing your ass and titties to the whole world, your camel toes, and showing your wickedness and your drugs and when your witchcraft throughout the whole world. It's to push the word out and to see the signs. To see the signs that we're at the end. Tomorrow's going to be 60 degrees tomorrow. That's not normal. That's another sign we're at the end. Everything's upside down. Earthquakes in diverse places. There's no but war in the air, man. No but war in the air, man. Because the Lord's a man of war. And we at that time, man. Shalom. Keep your eye on prophecies, man. Until later, Lord willing. Shalom.
Shalom, Yesharella. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to hopefully Akim, that's preached the word in all truth and sincerity, along with your Israelite foreigner brothers that look like the heathens, but the line on far side goes back to the nation of Israel, which nation of Israel are your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, through the prophecies and curses of Deuteronomy 28 chapter and throughout the Bible. So this will be your call back to lesson, and as y'all see, this is an article from RT News entitled 5 Dead After Small Plane Crashes into California Neighborhood, And I was going to read, this paragraph of the article and play this clip. And Lord willing, you brothers and your few sisters out there be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. So it says, a Cessna 2-engine plane crashed in the Yorba Linda area in California's Orange County, which this is an Edomite neighborhood, which the Edomites are you so-called white people, the wicked, according to the Bible, It says, setting the house on fire. It says 5 people were killed in an incident local fire authorities reported, I'm just going to play this clip.
There's a house totally on fire down there.
Yeah, so as y'all see, man, that's judgment from Yahweh Shema Shai, man. Because as it says in the book of Psalms, chapter 73, verse 5, it says they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. And that's talking about the Edomites, man, because, it's been so many years that, they haven't been getting afflicted from Yahweh Shema Shai. They live in the best neighborhoods. They live in got the best schools, got the best grocery stores. But now, we in these times of heavy judgment on you Edomites, man. And this was a perfect case of that, man. And things like this is going to keep happening, man, because it's all sanctioned from Yahweh Shema Shai, man. Because the words of Yahweh Shema Shai is being preached, man, by apostles and elders of Great Millstone, man, which are the true prophets that Yahweh Shema Shai have sent, man. And your pride, you think nothing can ever happen to you. You Edomites think nothing can ever happen to you, man. Because of your pride, man. But as it says in Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 18, it reads, pride go up before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall, man. So, this is why your kingdom is crumbling, man. Because of your pride, and first and foremost, it's prophesied that your kingdom will come to an end, man.
you know, by way of the Holy Scriptures, man, you know. So it's a beautiful thing to see the curses of our being put on our enemies, man, you know. And off on this precept, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies. Which who is our enemy? The so-called white man, man, and these heathens, man, you know. But our chief enemy are you so-called white people, man, you know. It says, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, man, you know. And they hate us, man, they persecute us, man. But nevertheless, you know, the curses of Yahweh being put on our enemies, man, you know, on you Edomites, man, you know. And it's a beautiful thing to see this, man, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick lesson based on that. And you know, Lord willing was edifying to you brothers out there. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Alright, shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakah Kodash, which is the Paleo Hebrew for the name of the Heavenly Father and His Son. Alright, they're the only name that you could receive salvation under, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, and Yahushai, that of His Son, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone that rule well, who are elders of all of Israel today, whether you receive that or not. And heavy peace and salutations and blessings to the elect. Alright, 144,000 all the way down to the 1/3 men, women, and children who truly believe in this word, man. You know, this is a message that not only the slanderers and scorners could grow and benefit from, but even ourselves, man, as potential members of the elect. Alright, sometimes we got to reflect on our own actions, reflect on ourselves, and you know, seek further growth to continue in this truth and to be deeper rooted, man. And you know, these are things that we got to pray for. These are things that we got to meditate on and seek out. What you're seeing here, you know, is just one of those scorners. All right. I was watching a video as I woke up this morning. One of the brothers did a lesson on it, you know, so through the Spirit, you know, stirred up within me, and you know, I figured I would do a follow-up lesson as well. Just play a little piece, I guess, you know, and it's not.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. This is your girl, the anointed princess of Zion. Y'all don't want the delicate, feminine, beautiful, sweet-smelling women of your nation. You want these nasty ass. I don't even know what to call and stuff. I know I'm fine as hell too. You can see from my profile picture on YouTube, my YouTube avatar picture. I'm fine as hell.
So, you know, I just wanted to get the point across of the pride, man. You know, a lot of these scoffers and scorners and slanderers, they're filled with pride. You know, and it's just due to a lack of self-reflection. All right, because first of all, you know, if this woman was a righteous woman, she should be concentrating, just like all these other scoffers and scorners, and you know, all the Israelites out there, man, should be concentrating on causing the elect to grow. All right, being an example. And we're going to get some scriptures to back it up. You know, and not glorifying themselves. All right, it reminds me of that song, that old Outcast song, Caroline. All right, because in there's a part that he says she thinks she's mighty fine, but roses really smell like doo-doo. Alright, and really, man, we're all in that place. Alright, we're all unworthy of salvation, and we're all seeking and hoping for that salvation. Okay? And especially, you know, really just all of us, man. You know, and like, you know, these different videos, you know, they like to portray us, paint some kind of picture on us. But really, man, we love our women. We love our children. Alright, we love our families, but at the end of the day, man, we just choose Yahweh to be first. That's why Paul said, those that have wives be as though they had none. All right, really is showing a greater love in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and for those around you, for you to push Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai all the harder, man. Okay. But let's go ahead. Let's get into some scriptures, man. This is Matthew 7 and 15. This is, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, right? So in sheep's clothing, just showing that they're putting on, painting some kind of picture of themselves to make them look like they're something that they're not. All right. It says, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Okay. So, through this scripture, we know that there's people out there like that. So how do you know who they are? And it's going to continue. It's going to tell you. It says, verse 16, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Right, so you're going to know who these men are by their fruits, okay? And one of those members of that of those fruits are what are they doing? Are they seeking the growth of the elect? Are they seeking vainglory? I mean, look at all these different videos, man. You see almost all of them have a GMS or some kind of pride put on them. So what are you gonna show when Yahushai comes and requires your works at your hands, man? What are you gonna show? And like I said, this is a woman anyway. She needs to be concentrating on being an example to the women of Israel. Okay, not to just be a slanderer and a scorner. And like I said, man, you could see all the examples of the fruits, and this is just one example. All right, there's many within Israel that are just the same. Okay, doing the same things, same old rotten fruits coming out of them. Okay, well, what are they gonna say when Yahushai comes back, man? They're gonna point the finger at GMS. Well, GMS was doing this. No, you should have been self-reflecting, man. You should have been doing videos concentrating on the benefit and the growth of the elect. And this goes for all of us, man. All of us need to be self-reflecting. All of us need to be seeking to be an example. Okay? Now let's go ahead. Let's keep going a little bit further on this. Verse 17, it says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth corrupt fruit. And there's a form of corrupt fruit. All right? Spending all this time in slandering and scorning, which there is a reproof, and reproof is a beautiful thing, man. Because I was just watching the elder Yashawamba, and he brought out the point of reproof. If there was a truck coming after me, I want you to scream, "Get out the way!" And that's a form of reproof, man. And that reproof will save you. It'll deliver you. Okay? But, the whole gospel doesn't revolve around reproof. Okay? Let's go ahead. Let's jump to Matthew, the 5th chapter. And, around the 8th verse. Matthew 5 and 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? Right, the salt of the earth, the flavor of the earth. The earth was created for the 12 tribes of Israel, man, and for them to teach and to show all Israel and ultimately the entire world how they should operate, man, how they should act. So if you're claiming to be a man of Israel, then you need to be being an example to those around you, okay? Whether they be Israelites or heathens. All right, they should look at you and realize that there's something different about you. All right, something upright about you. all right, feel that you're trustworthy, and they're gonna come at us with false accusations and try to demonize us, man. But those that know you in your day-to-day life should have a totally different picture painted about you. All right, because going up to the 11th verse, blessed are ye when men shall revile you. So men are gonna revile you for this truth. I've had it many times where you had people in the world around you, and these people, they thought the most uprightness about you. But then once someone, because you'll have people, this place I was working at for a long time, actually, being a testimony to it. There was a point where there were these two people that were at my work that went about and somehow they got a hold of the camp channel, and they were showing it to everybody throughout the work. All right, so next thing you know, all this persecution started coming. People slandering, talking stuff. List goes on and on, man. And I went into my room, man, and I beseeched Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai just to bear witness to what's going on, man. I wasn't out there pushing my own thing, pushing my own message. These people all knew me to be an upright person, so to speak. But as soon as they saw those videos, then all the slandering and mocking happened. And it wasn't for my name's sake, man. It was for the sake of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Next thing you know, those two people, man, one of them fell through a ceiling, broke half his body, and the other one, got fired. And that's a big thing for Esau to get fired, because they glory off of the riches of this world, man, off of the carnalities of this world, because Esau's carnal. Okay, got fired, man. His woman left him, and these aren't even things that I asked for or sook, man. It's the things that Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai did unto them, man. So we don't take matters into our own hands. All right, but you will be hated for pushing this truth, man. You will be hated for it. Okay, but that's not to say that you shouldn't be an example. All right, that those around you, and we've had police come up before, and security, random people come up to the camp and witness on our behalf, because they know that we ain't out there causing strife, causing trouble, but that's the picture that they're gonna paint for you. All right, but I'll go ahead and finish off this 11 since I started it. It says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. So just like I said, false accusations. All right, verse 12, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So this ain't nothing new, man. Verse 13, read it again. It says, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing. And that's these scoffers and these scorners, man. And you, if you're not really concentrating on pushing this gospel to the ears of the elect, man, for the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, okay, you lose your salt, man. You're good for nothing. Right? You don't see no good salt on the videos. This woman ain't putting no videos talking about who the 12 tribes of Israel are. She's talking about she has a man. Well, you shouldn't be having your avatar picture up like that for the whole world to see. Okay, here's some righteous woman, and hey, we got love for the 1/3 women, man. But it'll be made known who they are on the other side. We're not out here trying to seek out the 1/3, man. We're out here just pushing the truth, and the elect will hear. Okay. It says, it shall thenceforth be good for nothing, but shall be cast out and trodden under foot of men. There you go, man. Verse 14, ye are a light of the world, a city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Right, so we're a light to the world. Okay. It'll break it down further. Verse 15, it says, neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Right, so that light, it shows you the way, man. So if you're a light to the world, then you're setting an example unto all Israel, and ultimately the whole world how they should operate. Now we know only Israel is going to receive that salvation, man. All right, so ultimately, you know, you're that light for Israel to see you, to acknowledge it, and to follow on and leave their darkness behind. Okay, so if you're going to be an example, then you need to really watch what you do and how you act, because you got different people watching you and seeking growth from you. Okay, and that's really what they should be doing, man. All right, not watching you and waiting for the next carnal video to come out, not waiting for the next joke, the funny slanderings that you're putting out. No, they're watching you to reflect on themselves, man. And therefore, you need to also be reflecting on your own self. All right. So, like they say in that quote in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. What's the responsibility? You being a light to the world. Okay, you don't just become an Israelite and go on with your day-to-day things like you did before. Right, that's why you got to take on being reborn again. All right. It says, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." So there you go, man. Perfect breakdown for being an example, man. All right, Yahweh Shai was the greatest example of all. All right, so we got to follow in those same footsteps, bear that cross, and be an example to the elect as well, man. All right. But with that, you know, I'll go ahead and end it there. The Lord willing, it was edifying. All right. The growth of the elect, man. Just remember that we're setting an example for the elect, man. All right. No matter who you are, if you're claiming to be an Israelite, even if you're a woman, all right, you need to be concentrating on being an example for these other women. Do videos for these other women, man. Not videos slandering the men of the Lord. All right. Not videos slandering GMS, or just concentrate on being that example to other women, for the growth of other women. All right, that's the real fruit. Okay. Say call halayim yao ba'ashim yao shai ba'ashim rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom. Call halal yao ba'ashim yao shai ba'ashim rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders, salutations unto my fellow laborers, the Yakim, that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the confusion of faith joined unto our ranks, to the hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. It's your brother Malcolm from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson. And we're going to play this debate. And the problem in this debate clearly is the truth. Because one side of the Edomites see that the Bible as being the basis of what's establishing things in society today. The fall of his empire is coming through the Hebrew Israelites, which they do and don't want to talk about. Because the problem is, if you talk about them too much and you give them a platform to speak, then you're going to have to be you're going to be faced with historical facts, biblical facts in history that has been omitted or purposely left out to control the narrative. You're going to have to deal with false racial constructs which have been created to support and substantiate the lie which is called white superiority. And this is what they don't want to deal with. That's what this comes down to. Alright? I'm going to read a couple scriptures here. The first one is going to be in, I believe it's in Ecclesiasticus. It's the book of Sirach. Yeah, this is Sirach 10 and 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Alright? This is how Esau, Edom got dominion over the earth. Through the sword and through his lies
of covering up and controlling the narrative, which is history. All right? You had the President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, who made the statement that a thorough knowledge of the Bible is better than any college education. And see, if you bring Bible into the schools, this is why so many people are against it, as you're going to see in this short video. The reason they're so against it is because the Bible's being looked at a different way because of the Hebrew Israelites awakening, which is scriptural, because of the dry bones waking up, the meaning of words. You know how they put the word Greek for Hellenist, and Hellenist means a Greek-speaking Jew. All right, which cancels out Gentiles in the state of speaking about the other nations. But yet the Israelites who were made Gentiles, how the Apocrypha and the Apocryphal history was purposely omitted from the Bible to cover up and hide the 400-year destruction of the Hebrew Israelite culture and them being brought into the Grecian society, being Hellenized. All right? And that they became Gentiles because they were Hellenized. Those very important details and things like that are left out in school, and you'll see they try to make that separation between church and state. Because wait a minute, how are you going to teach Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans how to read and write, and then teach them the Bible in the same institution? Because that will raise questions and things of that nature that they are not and do not want to answer, bring up, or even talk about. All right? They don't even want to talk about these things. Okay? So with that, let's let the video play, and I'll grab a few scriptures at the end.
But that division is now being tested. Proposed Bible literacy classes for public schools are sparking controversy across the country. Secular activists warn that it would set a dangerous precedent, but President Trump has endorsed the plan, support which was rapidly criticized online.
Numerous states introducing Bible literacy classes, giving students the option of studying the Bible. Starting to make a turn back? Great.
Bible literary classes in public schools clearly violate the First Amendment, which seeks to ensure our government does not support nor establish a national religion.
I propose that we also have Hinduism, Buddhist, Egyptian Book of the Dead, and Taoism courses.
Keep the
they predate the
confusion
Bible.
going.
Aren't they historically significant?
There are already optional Bible literacy classes offered around the country every weekend. It's called Sunday school. Whatever happened to the separation of church and state?
Well, bills to allow Bible classes have been introduced in several states.
See, I thought I'd be able to just let it play, but I can't. See, they desperately want to keep it out of the learning place, because the separation between church and state, and then they set up laws over the church of what you can and cannot teach. See, you put it in school, and now you're going to give children the freedom to do research. All right, because they're going to research, they're going to go to books and other, encyclopedias and to the internet to do their homework and things of that nature, and then they're going to find out that what you're teaching in the churches don't match up with what's in the book. All right, and that the secular history of the Bible is actually found in secular history, which validates the Bible. You swear in on the Bible in your courtrooms, your president swear in on it, but yet you want to keep it out of the classrooms. All right? That was a very important thing that happened, all right, that they're not teaching. And here's a scripture to substantiate it. This is 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter and the 28th verse. And it says, "For my son Yahushua shall be revealed with those that will be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years." So from the time of the Maccabees, okay, all the way up, and this was revealed to Ezra. So from the time of the diaspora, all right, the first one, All right, because we got, there was quite a few Israelite diasporas, but during the diaspora, there was a 400-year time period between the time of the fall of Jerusalem, the first time, all right, after the split of the kingdom, I should say, up until the time of Yahushua. All right, you got a 400-year period from when Alexander, the Greek, took over the Edomite, Alexander of Macedonia, and the Edomite and his Edomite armies, led by his Edomite armies, and how he conquered all the heathen around about them and joined them onto his forces. But from the time that the Edomites became the Grecians, that they took over Greece from Japhet and started calling themselves Greeks, all right, to the time of the Lord, to Herod, and all those things went on, was 400 years. And in that 400-year period, they were not allowed to refer to themselves as Jews and keep customs of Israelite customs. All right, that's a fact of what happened. All right, if we go to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. It's 1st Maccabees, Salakia. If we go to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter, there's an account of it written in the Bible. I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, "Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or profess himself at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews," meaning the tribe of Judah, and Benjamin and Levi, because they couldn't decipher between the Benjamite, the Levite, and the Judite, so they started calling them the Jews, "were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy. Moreover, they went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashion and be partakers of their sacrifices, and whosoever would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death, that they might have been seen, that might a man have seen the present misery." So a lot of them stopped teaching their ways to their children, and over that 400 time period they were Hellenized. So when Paul came on the scene, it was his office to go to those Hellenized Israelites who were in a Gentile state of mind and were being called Gentiles by the Jews who fled and were assimilated into society, who held on to their laws, statutes, and commandments, and knew that they were Israelites. And this is a very important secular fact that they've left out in modern day Christianity, and the study of the Bible in these days could reveal that and ruin everything that they planned, that they built up, all their lies. Okay, as you can see, these people making these statements, they're terrified. You know, the Hebrew Israelites, is especially through GMS, is a worldwide thing, which is prophesied in the Bible in Isaiah the 19th chapter.
Proposed courses are optional and focus mainly on the historical importance of the text. Opponents say it violates the Constitution's...
It didn't say religious, it said historical.
...support to religion. Yeah, fierce debate on this, as you might expect, including here in RT. We got the views of John Loudon, who is a former Republican member of the Missouri Senate. And firstly, we hear from Kevin Boyling from the Secular Student Alliance.
I think one of the bottom lines that it comes down to is, who do we want teaching religion? I don't want my government teaching religion. I don't want our public institutions teaching religion. I think that's a great place for the religious community.
I'm not afraid that kids are going to get Bible instruction or Quran instruction in high school and suddenly be turned into terrible people.
I think most of the Founding Fathers actually had pretty good statements supporting the separation of church and state. We want our schools to to teach, we don't want them to preach.
People just want to be left alone. If a school wants to have a Bible class, let them have a Bible class. I don't know why so many people are afraid of a book.
If you really want to get into what the historical documents of the Bible are, I'm not sure that there are a lot of things a lot of Christians would want for school to be teaching. The Bible discusses a lot about sex and slavery and genocide and rape. I don't want my school
He just
teaching
let
my
the cat out the bag, which is what one of the things that GMS has been teaching about that rape occurs in the Bible, and then the Bible teaches you how to deal with it when it occurs. And when GMS taught that fact, it started an uproar all throughout all Israel. How much more through these heathens? All right? As a matter of fact, they scream and cry, GMS, you teach rape. Well, rape is in the Bible, and we teach how the Bible tells you to deal with it when it happens. Nothing more. Because in every society, that has happened. It won't happen in the kingdom of heaven. All right? But in every society, it has happened, and there are laws in the Bible on how to deal with it. Those are the grimy parts of the Bible. The man just said it. He doesn't know. Let me go back. Because why? Because Esau teaches contrary to what's in the Bible. Let's go back a little bit.
And slavery and genocide and rape. I don't want my...
What?
The Bible discusses a lot about sex and slavery and genocide and rape. The Bible discusses a lot about sex and slavery and genocide and rape. A lot of Christians would want for school to be teaching. The Bible discusses a lot about sex and slavery and genocide and rape.
And all those things happen to us by these people on the screen. They are guilty of illicit sex, of slavery, of enslaving the Lord's people. And the Bible says that you're gonna, Revelation 18:6 says, give unto them double. All right, and what happens during slavery? Rape. So everything that they fear is coming back upon them, and they don't want this truth coming out. They don't want us to return to the Bible. This is Judith, the 6th chapter. All right, and I'm gonna start at 5th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the book of Judith, the 5th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 17th verse. And it says, whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he had appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by enemies. But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it is desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, that they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be any iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Yahweh defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. And that is where we are yet again. That is where we are yet again. We have woken up to who we are. The history, the truth and the history and the scriptures and the things that we say are being proven through secular history, through the scriptures, through the meaning of words. And Esau is horrified because the truth is now entered into the world, and his end is in sight. We're at the end of the age of the rulership of the wicked, which is Esau, Edom. This is 2nd Ezra 6:27. And it reads, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And the truth is being declared, and Esau is horrified. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Abishai, Ba'ashem Rakar Kwadash, Wa Abba Babal.
Alright, Shalom. This is the brother Yuanathan about out of Wam out of GMS Valdosta Camp. Coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glorifications to Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule well, the real teachers of Israel. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching this word in truth and sincerity. Okay, it's going to be a lesson on, how Esau is pretty much divided against himself, man. That's one of the reasons why his queendom, I should say, or America, his corporation is going down, man. Okay, because you got, the Democrats against the Republicans and the Republicans against the Democrats, which we know they're really in cahoots. It's just it's all a game. It's all staged. But one way or another, these devils are divided against each other, man. And they got the nation of Israel, not to get off topic, but they got the nation of Israel divided right now. But pretty soon, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai is going to, lift up that standard, man. Join those sticks back together, man. Pursuing the Ezekiel 37. It's happening right now by sealing the elect. All the tribes coming together, starting with the elect, man. The 12,000 out of each tribe, the 144,000. Okay, but with Esau, man, the devil, man, they can never, seem to get along. Like I said, the different parties in the Congress, passing all kind of amendments and laws, having vetoes, throwing out bills, and because their house divided, man. Okay, Edomites, the middle class against the poor, and the poor against the rich, and all that, man. Which if you're an Edomite, man, you should at least be a millionaire, man. Every Edomite should at least be a millionaire. If not, you're a two-time loser, man. Okay. So I'm gonna get it right into the scriptures. This is Mark, chapter 3, starting at verse 23, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Which the physical counterpart of Satan is the so-called white man, okay, the devil according to the Bible, okay, which Satan comes from the Hebrew word shaitan, which means adversary, okay. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So a kingdom cannot stand if it's divided against itself. And that's what you see here in America, man, with the government, man. Democrats versus Republicans. Okay, that's a lot of me. Not real, man. When the sun set. All right, the Sabbath about to come in. Okay. But like I said, man, a kingdom cannot stand if it's divided against itself. And that's what you see with the Republicans and the Democrats, man. All right. It can't stand, man. Okay. And that's what you see with these devils, man. All right, so it says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And America is crumbling, man, as we speak, man. Okay, for one of the simple facts that they can't get along, man. Okay, like Trump, he want this damn wall, and the Democrats ain't having it, man. The Republicans want it, which it's all bullshit, man. Okay, like I said, it's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. But one way or another, man, being a damn Edomite, man, you ain't gonna agree fully to nobody, man, because Edomites are stubborn, man. Okay, they won't even agree with their own people, man, on a lot of issues, man. Okay. Verse 25, it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Right. So the household is divided, man. Okay, everything's divided amongst you damn devils. That's why your kingdom is crumbling, man. Okay, because you can't come to terms on nothing, man. All right. You just divisive, man. All right. It says that, and if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself, all right, like you got Russia, for instance, Russia and America, man. Edomites versus Edomites. Trump against Putin, World War III, man. All right, the NATO and the EU, man, against America, man. NATO against America, man. Okay. Trump talking about he wanted out of NATO, okay, but they didn't let that happen. You know, they can't come to the grips, man. Okay, that's why it says that if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. Yeah, you devils have an end, man. Your kingdom is going finna be destroyed, man. Okay, you're gonna be no more, man. All right, and our kingdom's about to rise, starting with the 144,000. Okay, with the 1/3, it says no man can enter into a strong man's house. Well, that's pretty much it. That's the point, man. I'm gonna read verse 26 again. I'm gonna get another precept and wrap up. It says, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. And you got those whistleblowers, man. This brings me to this scripture, man. Okay, because at the end of the day, man, you devils only bringing down your damn selves, man. Okay. Says scripture. I believe it's Psalm 64:8, if I'm not mistaken. This is Book of Psalms. Let me highlight this real quick, Salaki. It says, this is Psalm 64:8. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Right, like you got this one devil with RFID. Just using one example, there's one devil on YouTube with a RFID chip channel, the Mark of the Beast channel. All right, talking about the RFID chip is the Mark of the Beast. Okay, and he's pretty much a whistleblower, like other whistleblowers out there. You had this devil that got killed, making a movie, The Great State, talking about martial law, man. Okay, so hey. That's an example of their tongue falling upon themselves, man. Okay? Because a lot of you Edomites just mad because the elite ain't sharing the wealth, man. Because if they were sharing the wealth, you wouldn't even be exposing them like you do, man. Like you truther Edomites, you fucking prepping Edomites. Okay? You're trying to expose the so-called government, man. Okay? A lot of you getting off, man. Okay, they putting you to death. Why can't they put the man of the Lord to death? Why? Because the angels got us, man. Okay, it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Okay, so hey, that's you devils, man. Telling on yourselves. Okay, that's one of the reasons why your kingdom is crumbling, why your kingdom is falling, man. Okay, so with that, I didn't want to make this too long, man. I hope you brothers, pretty much the elect, was edified, you sincere listeners. Okay, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Al Shah, man. This devil's on his way out. Okay, his kingdom is going down. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say again, all praises and glorifications goes to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Hashem Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, real teachers of Israel. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching his word, the truth, and sincerity. I want to say Shalom, Kwame Yasharala, Shalom. To the next.
All right, thank you for joining me. February 4th, 2019. Looks like the stream is struggling a little bit. I hope we're not having trouble. There's some important stuff to get into today. Some things that I, feel obligated to say, look, I told you so, but I'm not going to do that. But we are going to go over some things that I think most of you are going to be not very shocked about, which I'm sure you saw in the title. Something that we've been expecting this entire time. Basically, I would argue that they never intended to follow through with in the first place, as well as some interesting connections to Israel and the entire thing, some connections with ISIS and U.S. and Syria. Big surprise. We've seen that a million different times. And more accounts deleted from social media. Of course, connected to Iran or connected connected to Venezuela. You know, groups that they can't really prove are connected, but they think, well, they're spreading things that don't go along with what we want to say, so they're foreign interventionists, but that's really what the U.S. is doing everywhere, but we don't talk about that. So let's get into it. The big story of the day, the first part that I think is, you know, as I can see, pretty underreported so far today, which is a really big deal, because, and I think everyone's kind of, in a weird way, like not wanting to talk about it because it makes a lot of people look like they've been wrong the whole time from both sides. But guess what? Death knell for Syria pullout. Quote, we have to protect Israel, Trump says. In other words, we're staying in Syria. And if you, once I get into this, you'll see that it's not even about, you know, well, you know, it's everybody for the most part. And any even hint at like maybe someone leaving is an unverified number sometime distant in the future. So nothing is changing. And I want to point out right off the bat that it's that the interesting part, and I got a lot of negative stuff for this when I commented on the fact that they were sending in a massive increase of troops, helicopters, ships, all apparently to pull these people out. Well, guess what? Now what's going to happen? Just like we talked about, we now see what was pretending to be a pullout become a massive troop increase. There's no other way to look at that. Those people are on the way, if not already there. So now we've got more troops, more helicopters, more ships in Syria that was going there under a guise of pulling them out. Yes. Big surprise. What do you know? It's exactly what we've been saying. Now, what's funny is I'm not psychic. I don't have some kind of special power to decipher what this is. Just if you actually pay attention to what they're doing and what they have done, they're not really good at changing up their song here. They do the same thing over and over with a different face, with different promises, with the same thing that ultimately happens. And now we're staying in Syria, as well as likely Afghanistan, which I don't think we were ever even feigning at leaving Afghanistan. That was just something that they said. So now after approaching about 2 months of talk of, you know, full and immediate troop withdrawal, you know, he was on record saying that, even though he then said, I never said that, but he did. Full, immediate, rapid withdrawal. First ordered by President Trump, of course, on December 19th, which was predictably met with a fierce pushback from Beltway hawks and neocons, including some cases of his own advisors, and I would say basically everybody in his cabinet. It now appears that, as the article put it, the death knell has sounded, and the prior, quote, complete and rapid draw-down order is completely falling apart. Now, Trump said in a CBS Face the Nation interview this weekend that some unspecified number of U.S. troops will remain in the region. So again, just as wishy-washy, like, so unspecified, what, like 10,000? You know, who ultimately knows? I know they claim we've only got 2,000 there. I was making, you know, the numbers just for fun, but we know that there's a lot more people going in now. We also don't count all the mercenaries and contractors and everything else going on. But the reality is this unspecified number is going to be staying for sure. And it says, mostly in Iraq, which I'll get to in a moment, with possibly some still in Syria in order to protect Israel. Now, understand right there, he says in the interview, with possibly some in Syria, of course, to protect Israel, because that's our obligation as the American government to protect Israel. Of course. Just like we saw the first bill in this new Congress about protecting Israel. The picture should be coming together for people that don't know this stuff. And he says, in what appears a significant backtrack from his prior insistence on an absolute withdrawal, coming from the article. But then he goes on to say, right after that, which is so humorous, the way he talks in these interviews, he says, quote, we're going to be there and we're going to be staying. We have to protect Israel. So it went from one sentence later, it went from possibly some in Syria to protect Israel, and then, oh, we're going to stay and we're not leaving. We're there to protect Israel. Interesting. And he said this when pressed further by CBS reporter Margaret Brennan. He says, quote, we have to protect other things that we have. But they'll be coming back in a matter of time. In regard to ISIS is what he's referring to. He did note that ultimately some will be coming home, he says. But let's look at this. Let's look at what they actually said here. I want to talk about this claim for a minute. She says, when are they coming home? And first asked if they how much, he says 2,000 troops. Sure. Even though I've heard numbers up to 5 and 7 from different people in his own administration, but 2,000. Let's just stick with that, the classic number they've been trying to throw out. I guarantee you it's more than that. That's my opinion. But he says, when are they coming home, she says. And Trump answers, they're starting to, as we gain the final remainder of the caliphate in the area. You know, the group that he said was defeated, but now we're still fighting them apparently, but we got to keep doing that. Then he says, they'll be going to our bases in Iraq, and ultimately some will be going home. Some ultimately Very interesting. And as I pointed out in a previous show, sending them to Iraq is not sending them home. And Bolton is the one who said the majority, he says, are going to Iraq instead. And remember that big, emotionally drawing statement Trump made on that video about, oh, the troops are going to be coming home, all these happy families are going to... No, not happening. Some, maybe, ultimately, at some point, this wishy-washy idea, but no, most are going to Iraq, and some, probably a lot, are staying in Syria, as Netanyahu and Bolton have said, indefinitely, in Al-Tam specifically, to protect Israel. Think about that. He says, but we're going to be there and we're going to be staying. That is definitive. So even though he started out by saying, well, maybe, no, we're staying. Bottom line. That's from Trump's own statement in this interview. And of course, he then further says, point blank, we have to protect Israel. Bottom line. Now, really, what do Americans think about this? That people are dying over there, American people, troops and otherwise, because we're protecting Israel? Interesting. But then it goes on to say, look, we're protecting the world, he says, which is laughable when you understand all of the chaos that they've reaped all around the world, or caused, rather. And then, of course, all of the chaos they've caused in Syria specifically. All the civilians that they've killed. All of the destabilization that their own documentation said they were trying to accomplish. But yeah, just like Pompeo said, we're not trying to occupy, or we're trying to save everybody. Just saying that doesn't make it true. He goes on to say, we're spending more money than anybody's ever spent in history, by a lot. Yeah, on your military. And the article says, Trump's slow drift and change in tune on the subject of a promised rapid exit comes after, of course, Israeli officials led by Prime Minister Netanyahu alongside neocon allies in Washington argued that some 200 U.S. troops in Syria's southeast desert along the Iraqi border, very important geostrategic point, and its 55-kilometer deconfliction zone at the Al-Tam base are the last line of defense against, Iranian expansion in Syria, and therefore must stay indefinitely. So it kind of dances between we're fighting ISIS and now Iran. Seemingly Assad being deseated is kind of no longer the topic point, even though we know that's what they're trying to do. But now it's because Netanyahu thinks that Iran is dangerous and that we need to stay in Al-Tam indefinitely. This is what they've said, and now this is what Trump is basically saying is happening. He says, quote, I want to be able to watch Iran during the CBS interview. He says Iran is a real problem, even though they haven't invaded anybody for hundreds of years, and the United States has left hundreds of countries, I would argue, probably realistically ones we can prove easily over 20, in absolute devastation. Liberation. But Iran is the problem. He explained that 99% of ISIS's territory has been liberated, but that a contingency of U.S. troops must remain to prevent a resurgent Islamic State, as well as to counter Iranian influence, for which American forces must remain in Iraq as well. Now understand, the only reason, in my opinion, and I think this makes perfect sense, that they're even continuing to say that ISIS is still kind of there, I think Trump kind of screwed up when he said, they're defeated, let's get out of there. Didn't consult his neocon administration, because once they no longer have the excuse of ISIS, they're there illegally. They're there illegally regardless. But under the authorization for use of military force, which is an entirely unconstitutional and international law violating concept, they can claim, well, because we're fighting terrorism, we can do what we want, basically. But the moment that there's no longer an ISIS, they can't just say we're here to fight Iran, because they would have zero legal justification, even under their own documentation, to occupy a sovereign nation to stop Iran. Does not fly. And that's a big point. That's why I think they've backtracked on this, and they have to pretend to be fighting ISIS underneath it while they can continue to try to counter Iran, which is the real point of all of this. And you have to understand, and this is what Trump goes on to say, when I took over, Syria was infested with ISIS. It was all over the place. And now you have very little ISIS. And you have the caliphate almost knocked out. This is according to Trump. He says, quote, we will be announcing in the not-too-distant future 100% of the caliphate, which is the area, the land, the area, 100%. Which is kind of a weird, didn't really finish that sentence. We're at 99% right now. We'll be at 100. Now understand that the United States, verifiably so, did very little to fight ISIS. Almost entirely, you can prove them helping what they were trying to accomplish, despite the fact that their entire presence in the Middle East is why they exist today. Again, been completely documented by so many other people, I can't even count them all in one show. reputable people, some even in the mainstream. But that's not what they sell you with the mainstream, the Fox, the CNN, the MSNBC. But understand, Trump saying that we're responsible for all of this is laughable. By far, Iran, Syria, and Russia did the bulk of everything, if not all of it. I've covered this on countless shows where they're literally becoming ISIS's air force, bombing away Syrian troops while they're trying to attack ISIS. Countless times this has happened. So it's just this fantasy narrative that they have only works on people that no longer have any discernment and just simply blindly take what they're given by the people in power, which is an un-American thing to do. You're supposed to be questioning your power, the people in power. That is what we're supposed to do. This country was founded on it. Now, interestingly enough, Trump's invoking the Iran influence as a rationale for staying further actually contradicts his prior December statement that the defeat of ISIS was, quote, the only reason he was in Syria in the first place. Again, I think he just flew off the seat of his pants and just didn't really ask his administration why their lies have been the way they've been, right? Oh, you can't say that. That exposes our lie, right? We're there for Iran, but we have to say we're there for ISIS. And he contradicts himself. The only reason was because of this, and we're done. We're pulling everybody out. Oh, wait, now we have to fight Iran. Interesting. And as this outlet wrote recently, as I talked about in a couple shows past, the internal administration debate following incredible pushback against Trump's withdrawal decision has made entirely visible the national security deep state's attempt to check the commander-in-chief's power. And now U.S. presence in Al-Tanf represents the last hope of salvaging the Hawks' desire for permanent proxy war against Iran inside Syria, which again, something I continue to point out, is what their own documentation has said for decades. Destabilizing the area. That's what they've been trying to accomplish. And then they go on to add, until then, there'll be more time and perhaps more provocations the Hawks can rely on to effectively ensure full circle return to indefinite occupation in Syria. Now understand what they're saying there. That's a very big thing to think about. Now that they've forced them to keep someone there, I would argue probably a lot there, now it opens up the door for more false flags, more manipulations, to create the justification to stay. It made me think on a side note, and there's no way to prove this, it's just a thought that I had based on past actions. What if Israel were to carry out something where these troops in Al-Tanf were taken out with some kind of massive attack, and they blamed it on Syria? That would guarantee the U.S. had the reason to stay in Syria, and that would help what Israel's been trying to accomplish. Or, for that matter, anybody involved. But you have to think about that, because this is a fact that these kind of things have happened in the past. Interesting. Now, the U.S. president also, in the same interview, officially confirmed that Washington is holding peace talks with the Taliban, which is something, if you've been watching this show, you've known for like a year now. So it's not big news, but he just said it verbally on a show, so everybody's talking about it. And the point I make is the Taliban was one of the primary reasons that they were there in the first place. We're in Afghanistan to remove the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and now they're making deals with them after 18 years. Now, additionally, Trump revealed that the U.S. spent $50 billion a year in Afghanistan, his own quote. So almost $1 trillion. And he said, quote, "We have hit them so hard they're now talking peace," which is just, I just had to include that because that's ludicrous to think about. As they failed this attempted overthrow for 18 years, he says we've hit them so hard, now they're talking peace. No, they've lost so hard, now they're talking peace. Now they're dealing with the very group they claimed they were going to eradicate. See how they spin things like that? It's very humorous to me, that if you don't really pay attention, you don't really catch the lies they're constantly spewing. It's humorous in a macabre way, but hopefully we can see that what we've been expecting is no drawdown whatsoever. And in fact, a kind of a secret massive increase of troops in Syria. And Afghanistan's maintaining, and it's all going to carry on because no one in the people that are really in charge had any intention of stopping any of these wars. Because that's how they're making all of their profit, and they're changing things around the world that we could talk whole shows about on the side. But when it comes to just foreign policy, it's really important that they do not leave these positions. Because clearly Iran is the next person that they're going to be coming at. I think we have all been seeing that coming for a long time. Now, in an interesting related story that I think is incredibly humorous in a way in regard to them fighting ISIS, coming from South Front, entitled, "U.S. Attacks Syrian Army in Southern Deir Zor a few hours after U.S. Strike." How interesting. How interesting the timing of it all. The U.S. hits an area and almost perfectly coordinated the ISIS strikes on the Syrian army. Funny how that coordination has happened countless times. But, that's just coincidence, I guess. Could be, who knows? But I think it's important to recognize this. So just a few hours after a U.S. airstrike on the Syrian Arab Army in positions in Deir ez-Zor, showing you clearly that they're still completely engaged in what's going on there, trying to stop, Assad specifically, and take over the country so they can combat Iran, ISIS fighters launched a major attack in the very same area right after they bombed them, perfectly working together. Now, a group of the besieged ISIS fighters on the eastern bank of the Euphrates River crossed to the other side, and this is the area the infamous area we talk about, dancing back and forth over the river, and every time they get snugged back in on the U.S. side, they seem perfectly safe. Funny how they've existed there since the very beginning. And we're fighting ISIS, but we can't manage to get that one group that's right inside our area. Funny how that works. But they crossed the river onto the other side and launched an attack at several positions of the SSA and their allies, basically Syrian government. In the same time, another group of terrorists attacked the army from the direction of the Homs Desert. Both attacks were reportedly repelled. So simultaneous ISIS attacks right after the U.S. bombs them. You can't ignore this. And it says, quote, 11 fighters of the group from ISIS were killed, including 3 suicide bombers who blew themselves up. So planning went into this. Suicide bombings, coordinated attacks, right alongside U.S. bombings. They're doing a really great job of taking out those ISIS members that are working from inside the U.S.-occupied area. Interesting. Well, let's talk about Iran as well, because it's interesting to think about how the U.S. sells you this narrative about how everyone's on the same side. If you're not with us, you're fighting. If you're not on the side of freedom, you're fighting with the terrorists, or whatever the current Pompeo remake of Bush's old statement was, which is what they constantly do. Hyperpolarized. With us, with them. That's it. There's no other middle ground, which is ridiculous. It's naive. But the reality is, what the mainstream media really tries hard not to show you in regard to Venezuela too, which we'll get into in a moment, there are people who are working and trying to, be really on the side of Iran. Not necessarily in everything, but to show you that they don't agree with what Trump and the United States are doing with Iran. And that's a big deal. This coming from the the European Union. They launched INSTEX to facilitate trade, bypass U.S. sanctions on Iran. And we talked about this previously, but this is a really big deal. They basically set up an entire system where Iran could work with these countries, avoiding the U.S. dollar and completely circumventing U.S. sanctions. This is going to have some effect. You're going to hear these people demonized by Bolton and Pompeo, and it's going to have this is a big deal. But it shows you at the very least that a huge faction of people do not agree with the current warmongering of the U.S. government, U.S. oligarchy. Not the American people, not the United States, but the government, who has basically gone rogue and is doing whatever they want, basically protecting Israel and their assets and their agendas around the world at the expense of the American people. Now, in a move sure to unleash fury from Trump specifically and the Trump administration after he just said everything about Iran, the European Union has announced that it set up a transactions channel with Iran specifically to their own quotation, to bypass U.S. sanctions. They're not even trying to hide it. They do not agree with what the U.S. is doing. Now, and most of these, understand, are still people that were signatories on the JCPOA, the nuclear deal, and they're currently, most of them, still working in that regard. Now, the launch of INSTEX, or I don't know if they call it INSTEX, or Instrument in Support of Trade Exchanges by France, Germany, and the UK, will allow non-dollar trades with Iran, and is being described as facilitating humanitarian goods-related transactions only, including food, medicine, and medical equipment, which what Iran, in a lot of ways, is kind of disappointed about, because they wanted, and this may build from there, but they were hoping this would be used for just basically every transaction. But important to point out that if the EU had to create a side channel for Iran to get food and medicine and medical equipment, it without fail shows you that the U.S. lying about how our sanctions don't stop food and medicine, we don't try to harm the people, while literally they were stopping the medicine, food, and medical equipment from getting through, hurting the people. Pretty simple. And we continue to point out that Pompeo himself said, if you want your people to eat, you better do what we say. It's pretty ridiculous. But now they're doing this, and it's allowing the medicine, the food, and the medical equipment to get in to help the people. Some people actually have morals, it would seem. Now, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo previously warned of, quote, swift punishment for countries doing business with Iran. Again, as I always point out, why in the world that the United States thinks it has the power to punish people like some kind of overlord father figure to other countries doing things with people that they want. It's not an international body. The United States they're a nation just like everybody else. For them to stand up and say, we're going to punish you with sanctions and stuff if you don't do what we say, is really ridiculous. And we have to recognize that. Under this guise of like they're fighting for freedom and goodness in the world, is completely disconnected from the reality. Maybe at one point, and I can make an argument why that's not true either, but the current power structure, the government of this country, not the United States, but the government, is clearly not doing things for the benefit of the people because their actions directly hurt those people. It's very simple. Now, in other news, the mainstream media is continuing to aggressively suppress any idea that there is more than one side of what is happening in Venezuela. You know, millions of people that actually support Maduro. And that's pretty much the one thing they do not want you to look at. That there are millions in Venezuela who support Maduro. And that in and of itself should show you just how one-sided the mainstream media almost always is. By selling you one side of an argument, even if they think it's the right side, they are intentionally misleading you by not showing you that there are multiple concepts to this. Now, by not showing you the other side of the argument, they are throwing in, yet again, with an imperialist oligarchy that cares nothing for the people of Venezuela, you know, just like the mainstream media did in Iraq, that took the lives of at least 1 million people. This is both sides, mind you, CNN, Fox News alike, every side. Just completely, unanimously going for war and taking one side of it. Now, quickly, I want to play you a great video from In the Now, about a minute of it, to show you some points, and really just mainly the footage of the people marching in support of Maduro that you won't see on the mainstream media. So I thought I'd play it for you. It's a great video. The entire link is in the show notes if you'd like to check it out for yourself.
My God, one week it's Syria, today it's Venezuela, next week it's Iran. Pick a damn country, America. It's pretty amazing that the same country that spent 2 years screaming about alleged Russian election meddling in 2016 is now applauding U.S. meddling in Venezuela. But if you're watching U.S. corporate news media, you would have no idea the U.S. is meddling. They label Maduro a dictator and insist that all Venezuelans support the people that the U.S. wants in power.
Maduro dictatorship, a dictator with no legitimate claim to power.
It has been a disaster on all counts.
What they leave out is that there are millions of people in Venezuela who voted for and support Maduro's government.
Aquí está el pueblo de Venezuela, aquí está el pueblo de Caracas, marchando en defensa de la revolución, en defensa de la democracia, no a la intervención imperialista.
Que nadie votó por esta persona, nadie votó. Yo voté por Maduro, mi voto es por Maduro.
But these people have been made invisible by an American corporate media that's been giddy over the prospect of a right-wing takeover of Venezuela for decades. So much so that they recognize the legitimacy of a dude who just up and declared himself president, and are calling that democracy. The U.S. has been trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government since Hugo Chavez became president in 1999. Chavez redistributed wealth to the poor and used the country's oil resources to fund social programs, which pissed off the country's elites. He also tried to unite the region against U.S. economic dominance, and made it difficult for the U.S. to profit off of Venezuela's oil reserves, which are the largest reserves in the world. That's right, where there's a coup, there's almost always oil.
And that is such an important point that's been brought up countless times. The oil is a huge factor, which our next story we're about to get into. And you really understand the point that I've been trying to drive home, like she said, that what Chavez did, socialist is the concept that people, they try to demonize, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't like government in general, but the reality that he did this to help the poor people and nationalize the oil and use the profits to help people. And he was, the guy, I can't speak to whether he was a good person or whether he did or did not do bad things. I'm sure everyone in government has done a lot of bad things. That's my personal opinion. But the reality is, not whether they're good or bad, that's not the argument we're making, but that what they did affected the bottom line of the elites in that country specifically, and the U.S. involved in the oil industry. And understand, the elites, the ones that the ruling class there that run a lot of these companies, are the ones that are largely responsible for the shortage of food, the shortage of paper products, because they control them. And they're working in tandem with the United States to bring back an era of capitalism, vulture capitalism, to manipulate and help the 1% versus everybody else. Now, that is a fact. And that's a large reason why they're not happy with what's going on. Now, because it didn't show up on the screen, I'm going to read Mexi Gringo's super chat where he says, hate to say this, but do you think our military invading Venezuela and or Iran with massive U.S. casualties could unite all of us against war? Now, it's a good question, but the sad thing is I wouldn't want to risk that chance. I don't want to risk people's lives to potentially win something, but it's a good argument, but the reality is it didn't happen before. It didn't happen in Iraq, didn't happen in Vietnam, and people woke up, but ultimately they were able to grab control of the narrative. I think we right now have enough people aware of what's going on to make a difference, just so many people don't realize that they are in a larger majority, that they keep their mouths shut, they're afraid to be the weird one, when in reality there's a larger group than you know who recognizes what's really going on. Thank you for the super chat. But in regard to the oil, which is an important part of this, and it's something that, this isn't new news, but this article is from today from Whitney Webb, and I really wanted to drive this point home because that video, again, is a great video, and I recommend you watch the whole thing that I have in the show notes. But this concept, it shows you that this is dated back well before Maduro, and that it has to do with what they did, socialism, or even just, I mean, it's primarily about the socialism in regard to nationalizing the oil, which interesting is what Guaido is first thing he tried to do, privatize the oil. Think about that. And that is the huge factor here. Great article entitled, Regime Change for Profit. Chevron, Halliburton, cheer on U.S. Venezuela coup. Big surprise. Now, this is a very important point to take home. Now, again, separate yourself from the argument that, oh, he's a bad guy. Oh, socialism is terrible. All these talking points they shove in your head. And it's not really about that. Good or bad or otherwise, the U.S. has no place in deciding the fate of other countries, especially the fact that it was democratically elected, even though people argue that's not the case. It's easy to prove that. But it's probably manipulated too, just like our U.S. elections are. Let's have some perspective here, just like our corrupt politicians manipulate everything that goes on in this country. But the reality is that it's all about the profit. It's all about the control of the resources, which is basically what every country that they've overthrown has been about. Now, for much of the past, as the article begins, 20 years or more, critics of U.S. foreign policy have noted that it is often countries with sizable oil reserves that most often find themselves the targets of U.S.-backed humanitarian interventions aimed at restoring democracy. The same tired line they play over and over and over. And then, again, I can't even wrap my mind around the fact that people can't look back at the last cases and be like, wow, that restorative democracy is working really well for Libya. It's working really well for Iraq. It's working really well for the Ukraine. It's on and on and on. Not really. But I guess that's different today. Now, it says analysis of the nearly 2 decades long U.S. effort aimed at regime change and democracy promotion in Venezuela has long linked such efforts to the fact that the South American country has the world's largest proven oil reserves. 2 decades long, well before Maduro. It says, however, the current U.S. effort to topple the government led by Chavista politician Nicolas Maduro has become notable for the openness of the coup architects, in admitting that putting American corporations, Chevron and Halliburton chief among them, in charge of Venezuelan oil resources is the driving factor behind this aggressive policy. And it's a really interesting point to think about. They've never been this overt about it. Outright saying that we're just going to take it all. Like Trump's been on record saying countless times in the past. We're just going to take their oil. But it's because he's a bad guy. Don't get it mixed. But we're just going to take it anyway because we're going to use it to help people. And then that just gets forgotten and you don't ever get to see how they actually helped people. Interesting. Now, last week, Senator Marco Rubio, a real key player in the Trump administration's push for regime change in Caracas, tweeted, biggest American buyers of Venezuelan oil are Valero Energy and Chevron. Refining heavy crude from Venezuela supports great jobs in the Gulf, so stealing their oil will give us some jobs. For the sake of these U.S. workers, I hope they will begin working with administrations of President Juan Guaido and cut off illegitimate Maduro regime. Basically, so stealing their oil will give us more jobs, so it's good for us. But the reason we want Guaido is because he's willing to privatize it, and Chavez and Maduro weren't. They'd prefer to use the oil to benefit the Venezuelan people, and we can't allow that. Unbelievable. Now, in January, the U.S. government recognized Juan Guaido, as you all know, of the U.S.-funded and CIA-linked Popular Will Party as the legitimate president of the country. No votes, no democracy, just your president. We all agree. Democracy! Now, a few hours after Rubio's tweet, National Security Advisor John Bolton, who actively supported the U.S.-backed failed Venezuelan coup in 2002, which is what I've talked about before, they basically unseated Chavez for like 2 days, and he didn't win because he had the support of everyone there and all of the military, and they lost. But people always argue that's not true. Chavez was in fact unseated, but for a very short period of time. And this was a U.S.-backed coup. And guess who was involved? Elliot Abrams, the guy who's now apparently restoring democracy in that country. But we've talked about that already. Now, Bolton appeared on Fox News and told the host, Trish Regan, the following, quote, "We're looking at the oil assets. That's the single most important income stream to the Venezuelan government. We're looking at what to do with that." Of course, trying to kind of bend that to be like, oh, well, we're doing this because we need to stop this dictator. We need to take away his revenue and then use it for ourselves. But they leave that part out. And also the fact that doing that's going to hurt the people that live there. But yeah, we're protecting the people by hurting the people like we've done every country before this. Now, it also goes on to talk about some excellent points that I really want you to... This is an article, if any today, you should really dive in and read for yourself. She goes on to really outline using foreign intervention specifically to boost floundering oil profits of major companies, which is what this is really about, as Chevron has had some real issues recently, specifically in regard to Venezuela, where they accused them of fraud and manipulation, which they probably were, and all these different things. They were struggling because of the changes in government, and the point is they're using intervention to change that. And of course, how both these companies, Halliburton and Chevron, reaped massive benefits of the past U.S. interventions abroad, such as the Iraq War, where the U.S. government opened the country's nationalized oil industry to American companies with military force. Democracy. And they stole it all and used it for their own benefit and killed 1 million people. Liberation. Now, they also talk about how aligned with specifically the Trump administration, and prior to them as well, as this man has been built up, as Gray Zone proved. Clearly, this man has been cultivated by the regime change architects over the years, being educated in the United States. He's a Mason, which is, for those that know, it's an important fact. But they align themselves and rise up a person that's willing to privatize the oil. As I said, the first thing he offered to do, privatize the oil. It's what they want. And of course, we just played the video of Trump claiming to take the oil. Basically, we'll work with whatever rebels want to work with us as long as they'll give us 50% of the oil. He said that countless times. Not about humanitarianism, not about helping people. It's about profit. To the victor go the spoils, he so often said. So really think about that. It's a big part of this that they are refusing to show you. And of course, that a huge faction of the country does in fact support Maduro. You'll never see that on the mainstream media. Now again, kind of going back to the idea of Iran and how the EU is clearly not siding with what the Trump administration is trying to do, and they won't show you that. The same kind of thing is happening in the United Nations in regard to Venezuela. But again, they won't show you that. Coming from Zero Hedge, Italy thwarts EU plan to recognize Guaido as legitimate leader of Venezuela. Now understand as well, there was a vote before this where they also shot it down and said, no, you can't manipulate this country. You can't go in and just change who you want. And so they came back, and now there's a new plan here they tried to pass to basically recognize him as a legitimate president, and Italy said, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. Showing you that it's not as clear-cut as they want you to think. Now, following which was a non-binding vote, which a lot of them tend to be, in the EU Parliament to recognize Juan Guaido last week, foreign ministers, I think I might have said United Nations, the first vote was the United Nations voted and said, no, we're not going to allow this. The second one is the EU Parliament, just in case I misspoke there. So following this non-binding vote in the European Union Parliament to recognize Juan Guaido just last week, foreign ministers from the various EU countries discussed basically officially recognizing the leader, the Venezuelan's opposition, as Caitlin calls him, Juan the guy, some random person that 81% of the country didn't even know his name, to officially recognize him as the leader of Venezuela and as the true legitimate leader. And this is ridiculous in and of itself, but they had this whole setup to try and take it to allow this to happen. And most of them were on board. But one dissenting member managed to block the statement, which was supposed to be delivered by EU Foreign Affairs Secretary Federica Mogherini. Now, hours after 4 EU members officially recognized Guaido, according to RT, that Italy managed to, as they said, stymie a bloc-wide recognition of Guaido, citing a source from within M5S, one of 2 parties running Italy as part of a ruling populist coalition. Now, BBG reported that other Eastern European nations also refused to back the proposal to recognize Guaido. But really, it's about getting the key players involved. As long as they can show the key, top, recognizable people to say that, then that's what really sells it. But a lot of people aren't on board with this. But that Italy stood up is a huge thing. Now, Austria and the Netherlands and Poland have also said they would recognize Guaido. But we should also reference back to a recent show where I pointed out one of the key people in the leadership of Spain openly said that, look, we were trying to conduct talks with Maduro, and we got overwhelming pressure. And he said, well, I can't tell you from who, but you can guess. Clearly, I would imagine the United States to not do that. So you can imagine the kind of pressure that Israel and the United States are putting on everybody to go along with this, or else we'll punish you like we promised to punish anyone that doesn't do what we say. Now, while the U.S. has pledged its full support of Guaido, Russia, China, Iran, and Turkey, and many others, Mexico, one of them, have all denounced this meddling in Venezuelan affairs and have continued to back Maduro. Now, Russia and China are huge, regardless of what you think of them, the power that they have together in regard to stopping any of this is daunting for people trying to make this happen. Now, Maduro rejected an ultimatum delivered by the 4 EU members who recognized his rival on Monday to call for democratic elections or you'll lose their support. However, he did offer a small concession, and I find this very interesting, by suggesting that elections for the assembly be held earlier than 2020, saying that the assembly, the locus of opposition to Maduro's rule, must be re-legitimized. Funny how all of a sudden he's turned it on them and said, look, we'll have another election for the National Assembly if you want, and let's see if the people really support Guaido. Right? I guarantee you they don't want that kind of legitimate election. No. They want something that they can control, that they can manipulate, which they can manipulate this too. But as all information has shown, most people don't even know this man. Most of them don't support him. That's important. So I found this very smart of him to flip the script on him and say, sure, we can have elections, but let's make sure, let's see if Guaido is somebody they want. Now, despite widespread popular unrest in the wake of Guaido's decision to declare himself the legitimate ruler of Venezuela late last month, Maduro has retained, of course, the loyalty of the military, give or take a few defections, which is the hugest factor in this, which is why we haven't seen it change. Which is why they're doing everything in their power to manipulate the perception of both the military and the rest of the world in hopes that they'll make them flip. Here's $20 million. Come over to our side, which is what's happening. Now, Venezuela is going to keep happening, and we're going to keep covering that. I really hope, for the sake of just humanity and the people that are suffering through this that don't deserve it, that the U.S. will stop and allow these people to go back to whatever they want to do. The U.S. has no right to intervene in other countries, and it never has. And they pretend it's for some thin veneer of humanitarianism when they failed at that. Again, as I always say, even if they actually believe that, they're really bad at it. And their efforts of humanitarianism end up doing the exact opposite. So they should just probably give it a rest, don't you think? Anyway, let's move on to the last story of the day. One that I found to be very important that ties in with censorship. And in regard to all of these stories, we just talked about Twitter censoring thousands of accounts from Venezuela. Oh, yeah, we can't allow the real narrative to slip out from Venezuela. We can't allow that. These people are foreign aligned because they're telling us what's really happening there, or rather, they're just countering the establishment narrative. Delete them. They can't be involved because they're supporting the other side. That's what it's about. Not about truth. Never is. And now again, from another outlet, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Says, here we are watching T-Lab arguing politics in the comments. These may be the good old days soon. That's funny. I appreciate that. I guess you guys are having a good conversation as well in there. But it's good. This is the important part of this channel, is to have back and forth. People that disagree. That's okay that we disagree, as long as we're able to have an amicable, intelligent discussion about it and try to sway each other with facts. Not get red-faced and angry and spit and scream about how crazy or dumb each other are. That's what everybody else is doing. Important. To be civil. Now, this is coming from Facebook. As we just saw Twitter censorship, now guess what? Facebook joins, and this is not the first time, as all of you know. They've all been doing this. We had the adpocalypse and all the names we gave it. They've been deleting independent media. They've been deleting foreign accounts, they claim. But of course, foreign accounts, but yet later say, oh, but we can't prove they're foreign accounts. We think they are, so we deleted them anyway. Which is literally what they said. Well, I shouldn't say literally, it's paraphrasing, but that's literally what they outlined in what their statement was. That they said themselves they could not verify that these people actually did what they say they did. And they deleted them anyway. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, of course, when the mainstream media reports it, oh, they deleted fake foreign accounts that they're influencing our democracy, and they leave out that last part. Always narrative. Now Facebook deletes hundreds of Iran accounts. Again, just because they're not saying Iran's bad. Come save us. Come invade this country and starve us with sanctions to help us away from this dictator. Anything else is apparently a foreign influence account. You know, if I was working out of Iran, they would have already deleted my account. They may still. I mean, shit, we know that's already happening. Now, Facebook has deleted hundreds of fake accounts, groups, and pages which it claims are linked to Iran. And they claim they're fake accounts, right? We're just supposed to trust them, apparently. Now, the head of Facebook's cybersecurity department, Taniel Glitcher, said in a letter earlier this week that the accounts were, quote, engaging in false and covert activity on Facebook and Instagram, which is owned by the social media giant, in case you didn't know. Instagram is owned by Facebook. Now, these accounts specifically targeted people around the world, they claim, especially in the Middle East and South Asia, according to Glitcher. Now, the company added that the content of these accounts and pages was related to issues such as, guess what, Israel and Palestine conflict, as well as wars in Syria and Yemen. You know, all the places they're aggressively trying to control what you hear and think. Interesting how that works. Now, in some cases, the account's content acted as, quote, reorientation of the content of the Iranian government media. Meaning that they, took something the Iran government was saying, such as that they're not doing the things the U.S. is saying, and they tweeted it out, or they put it on a Facebook post. And they said, oh, they're spreading Iran narratives, we got to delete those guys. Think of how ridiculous this is getting. Now, I'm not trying to say that there aren't some people. They understand that the U.S. has massive rooms full of trolls and people manipulating narratives all over online. Every country today does. That's the world we're in. But to just delete anyone that's going along with something that you don't agree with is not the same thing. Now, Facebook stressed that it had deleted the accounts because of their activities rather than the content they were publishing. Now, help me out with this. What's the difference here? Their activities versus what they were putting. Isn't their activity what they're publishing? I mean, are they going on and poking too many people? I mean, their activities, that doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe I'm missing something here. The reality is they're trying to kind of divert away from, well, if you go and look at the content and try, to show that it's true, it's not really about what they were saying, it's about what they were doing. Which is just a sidestep, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's just a way to avoid proving that that Facebook deleted people because they were saying Iran's not bad or whatever they were saying. Now, Glitcher explained that, quote, we, Facebook, do not want our services to be used to manipulate people, which is just about the funniest thing I've ever heard since I've been doing this show. Because the creators of Facebook have gone on multiple tours and said, we designed this to manipulate people. Like, literally a quote from them that we designed this using, dopamine, what do they call it, social feedback loops, like manipulating the way your brain works to get you to want to use it more. That's on record. And yet they say, no, we don't want it to be used to manipulate people, only when we do it, is what they should have added. Stressing that Facebook is working tirelessly to discover and prevent such activities. Again, the activities they can't really put their finger on. Just these activities that we decided were no longer okay. Now, about 365 accounts were deleted, along with 262 pages and 162 Instagram accounts, some of which have been active since 2010. About 2 million users subscribed to at least one of the deleted Facebook pages, while around 240,000 Instagram users followed one of the accounts involved. So you recognize they're basically saying, all of you millions of people that agree with this, you've been tricked. You can't, and this is, I think, the whole point. At the end of the day, it's all about controlling what you think. And controlling what giving you the talking points that they want you to know. Not to recognize that there's millions of people in Venezuela that support Maduro, that what they did had nothing to do with hurting anybody, but really helping the people in that country, using the nationalized oil to actually help people, such as free healthcare, free homes, all the things Maduro has actually done. And people don't even recognize Venezuela has apparently the lowest homeless rate of any country in South America. But they won't tell you these things. And if I went on and started talking about it on Facebook, I'm a foreign influence account. Can't talk about those things. Those are the bad things that we don't want you to know. Recognize what's going on today. And recognize that we may not have this platform much longer, or anybody in the independent media, because we can see a very clear escalation in how much they're trying to control it. And all that shows me is that we're getting through. What we're doing is making a difference. We are reaching people, and they can't have that. So more important than ever to get the word out, spread the information, share the link of this video, which, by the way, I've seen a massive increase on it. I think that's why our views have not really staggered all that much, as some other people have. Because they're not recommending videos, they're not putting it out anymore. But because you guys out there are sharing the content and sharing the video, putting it right in front of people, it's making a difference. So I really couldn't do this without you. So I love you all. Thank you for being here. Go out and have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, question everything. Come to your own conclusions. Stay vigilant.